What up, though? One Pride. This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, a podcast where one pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is a Wednesday night. It is the college football podcast, Men of Steele. And as we are still sort of forlorn in the middle of this off-season, waiting for everything to kick off, what is starting to kick off now, Ryan? We're getting media days, we're starting to get media rankings, we're starting to get these pre-season teams and everything come out. We're getting our first look of just what the people in the know think about some of these teams and some of these players coming into next year.
Yeah, like I said, we're firmly hot on the tail of the season starting now. The countdown to week 1 has begun, week 0 as well. So it's now time to look at the future, the next crop of players that are going to make their name towards the 2027 cycle. And a very exciting incoming recruit freshman, including the biggest ever NIL deal recruits, like say these 5-star, 4-star kids. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out as well. So yeah, been a big transfer portal window, which has really shaped a lot of these current rankings, and there's been a lot of change going forward.
Yeah, it seems like there's change every single day, and so that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Anyhow, we did this last year, so the big Bible has been sent out by Phil Steele, one of college football's foremost authorities on everything college football, and he puts out his pre-season teams as part of his big book. You've got all the rankings, etc., everything, and what we do is we do an episode for the Power 4, we do an episode for the Group of 5, and with the Power 4, we rank the teams against one another. So we take a look at the position groups, the players that have been put up, and we rank them best to worst in terms of who we think these guys are. And we try and come up with an overall score to see which conference maybe this year is sporting the best talent. And plus it gives us a chance to introduce some of the bigger names in the cycle to you this year, because we do a lot of small school stuff. We like our small school guys, but just occasionally you have to focus on the big boys as well. So I'll run through the whole thing with you as and when we get there for those who haven't done it with us before. Just first off, all the housekeeping and stuff. Roar of the Lions UK. If you want in on the Discord, let us know. We'll fire you across the link for that one. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. YouTube, Twitch, all that stuff. We appreciate all of you who do follow us. We're part of Lions Nation Unite as well, so if you want to help us on that way, great. In terms of the main podcast, the guys took some questions and whatnot the other day, so if you've not checked that out, please do go give that a listen. I will hopefully be doing a Q&A this weekend. I didn't do one last week, but we'll see. But yeah, that was the last main show on Monday. Don't forget we're monetized, all that good sort of stuff. If you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love having you all in the building, chatting football with us. If there's any questions you want to ask us during the evening, then just whack them in the comments. And either we'll answer them in this show, or we'll go away, put our consensus brains together and come up with an answer for the next one. But you know, we will always answer them. First off, just before we start the show, just want to do a little sad shout out. As you know, everyone knows, earlier this year we were reeling already from losing one of our college football pod's most frequent listeners, Brent, which was an absolute crying shame, and still missing to this day. It's not the same not having him around. But over the weekend as well, I saw on Facebook, because I follow him on there, someone from his family put up, but unfortunately Dan Spanos passed away as well this weekend just gone. And Dan is, anyone who's been around the Lions space will know Dan very well. I believe I met him when I started doing the Lions on the Prowl Free for All Fridays. He was in there all the time, but he came on to our shows as well and hyped up everybody. That's what he did, just kind of hyped up every space he was in, just pushed everyone to the moon, gave them a lot of support. I know he'd not been well recently, but unfortunately he's lost his fight. So, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends. He will be missed. We've known him for quite a while now, and yeah, as well as Brent, it's just been a rotten year in terms of that. So yeah, thoughts to Dan's friends and family. I just wanted to mention that before we kicked off. Right, I don't think... Is there anything news-wise you want to mention this week, Rye, before we crack on?
Just very quiet on the news front, I feel.
It is. There's still the whole thing with Michigan and Manuel Ward and everything like that. But yeah, I don't think anything's really come of that so far, so we will have to wait and see. But yeah, okay, so we're just going to crack straight on with this evening. We'll get to it because obviously the England game is about to kick off with Argentina in 20 minutes, so we're going to hopefully try and get out of here before the end of that so we can at least see a little bit of it. But that just shows our dedication to you. We're missing the World Cup semi-final to bring you your latest college football news. So, as I've mentioned, what we do by yearly basis. Thank you to Danny Mack for the second year in a row for sending me across Phil Steele's big Bible of college football stuff, the preview before the season begins. It's one of my favourite reads of the year, and one of the things he does obviously is he puts his pre-season first teams into the book. All there, pre-season conference teams. Obviously, it doesn't mean nothing, but these are the players that he thinks are going to be the best as the season goes on. So we did this little thing last year where we created a little ranking structure where me and Ryan take a look through the rankings. We mix the conferences against one another and we decide who has the best players and who has the worst players. And then we see which conference overall comes out with the win. Now, if I remember last year, the Big 12 didn't do well last year, and the ACC didn't do well last year. The SEC and the Big 10, I think. In fact, no, the Big 12 did all right on its defense, but it did rough on its offense. But let me just show you what it's all about. I'll get you into the document that we're looking at. Where are we? Should be doing this probably. Window capture, left monitor. And hopefully now you can see the grid that I've got up. So this is all filled in. I've just got it blanked out so that you can't see it at this point, as not to ruin the surprise. Hopefully it is all readable. I might just try and make it a little bit bigger at some point so you can all see. But just to show you kind of what it says, so you've got your quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, tackle, all that, all by position here. And what we'll do is we'll reveal the position groups one by one. We'll rank them, and as you can see on the right-hand side, we've got our grading system in terms of how we do it. So it's basically lowest score wins. So if we think, say, the Big 12 has the worst unit at quarterback, we will paint it in pink. If we think they have the best quarterback this year, we'll paint it in green. And then when it's all done, we will tally up the scores and we will see who has what. But it is lowest score overall wins. So you all ready to do this, right? You ready to maybe disagree a little bit and see what's on the mind? Okay, so without further ado, and I've done some notes and bits here for as many of the players as I can, but there is a lot of players in here, so do forgive me if they're not the most precise in the world. But the 4 quarterbacks we have in his first team pre-season teams for the conferences revealed as a drum roll, and I've just done that completely wrong. There we go. In the ACC, we have Darian Mensah out of Duke. In the Big 12, we have Noah Fafita out of Arizona. In the SEC, we have Arch Manning out of Texas. And in the Big 10, we have Dante Moore out of Oregon. So a little bit about them. In terms of Darian Mensah, first off, he is playing for the Miami Hurricanes this year, and I've put Duke. This is a mistake I've made constantly because I still think he's there. In every iteration of this, I've put Duke. I apologise. It is Darian Mensah of Miami. My bad. Even in my notes, I've put him as a Duke Blue Devil still. So yeah, he is 6'3", 205 pounds, redshirt junior. He's a 2-season starter at this point, played 27 games. He's 524 of 790 on his throwing, which is 66% accuracy. He's thrown for just over 6,600 passing yards with 56 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Now, say what you might about the NIL-related stuff in his career, but he knows how to win. As a freshman, he took Tulane to the AAC championship game. He was a redshirt freshman that year. It was his first time starter in year one. They did lose to Army in the end, but he did take them all the way to the championship game. Then he moved to Duke last year, made the move up to the Power 4, got an immediate team captaincy upon transferring to Duke, and led the team to a very highly unlikely at one point first ACC championship win since 1962. He set school records for single season passing yards and passing touchdowns. He's still got 2 years of eligibility left as well, so he's still fairly young in the grand scheme of things. Next up, we got Noah Fafita of Arizona. He is 5'10 and 190 pounds, the small guy of the lot. He's a 3-season starter for the Wildcats. He's played in 40 games. He's 785 of 1,213 pass attempts, which is 64% on his accuracy. 9,182 passing yards, 73 touchdowns to 24 interceptions. But I should kind of caveat that in 2025, he threw 29 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. He's got 703 rushing yards as well. He's not a true dual threat, but he has it in the bag. He is Mr. Arizona. He owns the school records for single game passing yards, single season passing touchdowns, and career passing touchdowns. He's just 800 yards away from passing the 10,000 career yard passing mark at the school. He's just 829 yards away from breaking Nick Foles' school record for all-time passing yards. He was a first-team all-conference selection last year, the first Arizona quarterback to achieve that honor since 1975. He's the nation's active career passing touchdowns leader with his 73, and he's one of just 5 senior quarterbacks in the nation who have spent their entire career at one school. That is amazing. This just shows you how much NIL is playing there. He is just one of 5 senior quarterbacks who's been at the school he's at his entire career. He's had his ups and downs. He was Pac-12 Freshman of the Year in year 1. Then in his first year in the Big 12, he led the Big 12 in interceptions in year 2 as he stepped back. And then he produced statistically the greatest season ever from an Arizona quarterback in year 3. In terms of Arch Manning, the Longhorns quarterback, 6'4", 219 pounds. Experts are all over the show on him. Some are glazing him to high heaven. Others are trying to push back on the obvious glazing. He's a redshirt junior. He's got just 1 season as a starter. He's played 25 games altogether, but just 15 starts. He's 3'11 of 503 for 62% completion percentage. The worst of all these quarterbacks here. Just over 4,000 passing yards, 35 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He's got nearly 700 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns. Out of all of these guys, he is the best dual threat. He's probably got the best tool set of all these 4 quarterbacks as well, but you feel the lack of starting experience, especially at the start of last year, he's not put his best ball to the table just yet, but he's been surrounded with a super team this year. So we're probably going to see his best stuff there. And then we've got Dante Moore of the Oregon Ducks. He's a redshirt junior this year. He spent 1.5 seasons as a starter, the first half season as a freshman at UCLA last year at Oregon after sitting behind Dylan Gabriel. He's 4'16 of 634, which is 65% for his career. 5,208 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. He's fumbled the ball 14 times as well. A lot of that came back in his UCLA days. But certainly he took to that team like a duck to water, no pun intended, last season in the wake of Dylan Gabriel going up to the NFL. There was belief he would go to the draft last year as QB2. He's come back. He's trying to solidify himself as quarterback 1 this year. He'll be in a battle with Arch for that there. But 4 very different guys here, Ryan. We've got one incredibly experienced one who loves his NIL and has no loyalty whatsoever, but he wins championships. He knows how to get there. And then you've got the 2 who've got the special belief in them that they could go and be number 1 quarterbacks in this draft period. But I guess Darian Mensah has that claim as well. I mean, it's a good bunch of 4 to start us off here.
Yeah, it's a mixed bunch, as you say, in experience, in throwing styles, playing styles, success to date, career numbers. I'd say so. It's a hard bunch group. Like I say, but I suppose when I think about it, they probably are the cream of the crops. Well, from their own conference, you could make a case for other SEC quarterbacks, maybe. But when you're thinking about star power and who is the face of the conference, I suppose it has to really be Arch.
Yeah. Obviously, the SEC and Big Ten can potentially be loaded there. But, I mean, it comes to ranking these guys. And for me, this is incredibly tough because you are
It
looking.
depends what you're ranking them on, I suppose. Yeah.
It's because if you're looking at even at a talent base, like, a lot of people would look at that and instantly go, "Oh, Noah Fafita's 4," but we remember Noah Fafita from 3 years ago when he was that Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Like, the sky was his oyster, in terms of his potential. And yes, they had the really rough 4-win season when they first went to the Big 12, and he was really bad, but. Then last year, he has just had statistically one of the best years ever. Again, gone completely under the radar because Arizona weren't really in there. But, like, he's talented. He's incredibly talented. And, he's probably going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks that the Wildcats have ever had in their history, statistically. And, maybe talent-wise as well, although Foles has won a Super Bowl. And you're like, if it's talent-wise, I don't think it's so easy against him. And then you've got Mensa, who's just spent the last 2 years dragging teams to championships. And yes, if you're taking the attitude and the NIL stuff into the equation, he might fall below some of these guys. But I know you especially, he's insanely talented, is he not? Like, for me, he'd be on par with Arch and Dante in terms of the skill that he possesses. And more than those two, he's got results. Like, he's got the Power 4 championship under his belt.
Yeah, like you say, he brings a lot to the table. He could have probably gone to a lot of SEC schools, but he made the decision to back a winning horse and try to replicate a national title run with a team that is absolutely loaded still in the Hurricanes. Yeah, he did huge things at Duke. He turned that program on its head, delivered Manny Diaz the success, and he's got a very pro-style game. He's a gamer. He's got a big build, a big arm. He can run the card. He can really do everything he wants, and he really had his pick of destinations.
Yeah, he did indeed. And then you've just got the two who potentially could be first in the draft this year. You've got Dante Moore and Arch Manning, but both of them. In fact, no, I would say it's fair to say Arch hasn't even come close to reaching his ceiling. He was way too inconsistent last year. He's not been consistently good enough for me to just be outright a number one in this. And then sort of Dante Moore did very well last year, but it's a system where the quarterbacks have thrown for thousands and thousands of yards season upon season. No matter who they put back there, they are wildly successful. And he still has his things, like the big games. He sometimes struggled in the big games there for them, but there's no denying the arm talent either. So for me, it's incredibly difficult to rank these two. But, the two outsiders you would think have done better, but then the two with talent potentially this year could just break out in a massive way.
Yeah, like I say, we've got the biggest name here is the one that has got the most to prove and is currently delivered the least and has the ton of pressure on him. And like I say, Dante Moore, did he make a huge mistake coming back to college? Like I say, if anything, he could do reprehensible damage to his NFL stock. He can't improve it. He can solidify it, but if anything, more than likely, he will harm it. So, two big players, like I say, that really have got a lot to prove this year about their current decision making.
They have indeed. So, when it comes to ranking these, I mean, again, I think this is very tough. Where are we starting? I guess what is our criteria here? I guess you've got to put it on pure talent, right? Like, it is who is the most talented at the end of the day, not who has the stats. Because some of the players in these just don't have much stats, but they're good players. But, again, I think Fafita and Mensah are just as talented as the two who people would automatically go for. But I don't know. Who would finish bottom here for you?
I suppose how I'm going to do it is like half of me is, like I say, is talent, half of it is how successful I think they will be in the season they're going up in.
Yeah.
Like that, how well they'll lead the team. So it does pain me, but like I say, I probably put Noah at 4, and that's not a knock against him. That's just how far I think he can elevate an Arizona team.
And I guess the trouble,
playing out of his skin, but how far he can take them.
And I guess the trouble with Noah is size. Obviously,
yeah. He has been flawed. That is his big flaw, and it'll be his big knock when he does go pro at the end of the year.
Yeah, obviously.
He's smaller. Small arms, like I say, small, but very light and slender.
Yeah. I would agree, but I do it very reluctantly. I would say he's not a very far off 4, not like some people would say. Again, he's just about to become the greatest quarterback in Arizona history. There is some level to be had there, and but that Big 12 is stacked this year. There's lots of teams who need to win it. So it is just an absolute minefield. And like you say, it's consistency. Do Arizona have the consistency to win it? I'm not sure they do. Right now, the interesting one comes because you more than any have been higher on Darian Mensah. You had him in your lists last year when he went to Duke, and he duly delivered. And there's no doubt he's insanely talented. Like, is there an argument to put him above one of the other two here, or again, is this sort of... I mean, because again, it's what they can do at the next level. I mean, in terms of what Mensah is, 6'3", 205, that's a great size for a quarterback at the next level. Like, he's got the size, he's got the frame, he's got the arm. Again, he's got the championship. Can we elevate him above one of Manning or Moore, or does he have to take a reluctant third as well?
I mean, I've looked through all these and I've made vague lists in all my head. Like I say, if I'm doing this, like I say, if I'm doing it solo, like I say, I put Manning at 3.
See, that's where I was at as well.
And that's not a knock on Manning. That's a knock on the pressure on him, the situation, the readiness. He has to deliver, and he's got to deliver big. And he's coming off a bad year. It ended well, but he's not coming into it on a great foothold. It feels.
It's consistency, right? It's level of consistency. There's no doubt.
Can he start this season like he did last season? Who knows?
Yeah.
If he starts this year bad again, like say, well, the pile-on will be immense.
And they've got, because obviously people egged on at him, because they lost to Ohio State last year. They've got, it's the 2 games in a row. It's the home and away series, so they've got Ohio State early. So that's going to be a big test for him. I think it's in their second game. So he's going to be tested right from the off. But I agree. It's not saying he's bad. It's saying his body of work so far has not lived up to potentially what the other two are. Now, we have a choice because, I am actually leaning towards Darian Mensah being the best one in this list. But I will hear arguments the other way. In my theoretical mind, it's very close, but again, Mensah has the title under his belt, and Moore's kind of just struggled sometimes in the bigger games, and it just gives me pause. But it was his first year as a starter as well, so I'm trying to take it all into consideration. But I mean, Mensah did make a jump from the Group of 5 to Power 4 last year, and he won a championship right off the back of it on a not fancy team that I know they paid him a lot of NIL, but there's a lot of big fish in the ACC. Oregon, one of the biggest fish in the Big Ten. Duke, not one of the biggest fish in the ACC. So, I don't know. Mensah's body of work and his innate skill set, for me, just put him slightly above Dante Moore at this point. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'm with you. Like I said, I see a Mensah player that's coming off an incredible season. He's riding the high. He's just joined a national champion. He's joining an absolute star-studded roster of a coaching staff that's found its groove. The fan base are on board. The money's flowing. He's in a great situation to try deliver them a new, like I say. But Dante Remorse kind of arrives as country's top dog, but it feels like the ground is on is very shaky. Like I say, Oregon's just lost a lot to the draft, lost some key offensive linemen, some weapons, and it feels like the huge pressure on them, let's say, because this feels like the year Dan Lanning has to win something.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's very young, first year of starting. Like I say, this will be the big make or break year. Like I say, if you can deliver and then ride out into the draft on top. So it's, I feel like I'd put Mensah at 2. I'd feel pretty comfortable Mensah at 2 and Moore at 1.
Oh,
but some flipping them.
All right. Okay, we'll flip. We'll put Moore at 1. I do get it. And again, it's level of competition. Obviously, the ACC is not as good as what the Big Ten is, so I guess Moore has the higher level of competition. I could say it a flip either way, but yeah, Mensah deserves to be up there right now. And if he wins again at Miami this year, then he'll probably declare. But the scary thing is,
the run game is inheriting as well at Miami. I feel like he's got a lot of complementary pieces that will.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Dante, I feel like will have to elevate the run game and the weapons around him.
I mean, they've got some good. They had the true freshmen and the 2 of them who broke out last year. Mackie Hughes couldn't make that team last year, but I get your point. And then again, it's level of competition as well. We'll see, but okay, I'm up with that. So Noah Fafita is at 4. Again, very reluctantly because we think he's very good. Archmanning's at 3, inconsistent body of work. Mensah's at 2, got the championship but level of competition. Dante Moore at 1, just because he's done it against better opponents. So yeah, I'm happy with that in the end. So
I'm assuming you think it would have been Salisbury, the pick, if he'd returned.
I don't.
Or do you still pick Noah, do you think?
I'd probably. I think Mestermaker was his second one in this one, so that was the alternative otherwise. So yeah, he could have, but again,
Not a big Poole, the Big 12 QBs this year.
But again, Noah Fafita had a lot of talent when he was, again, it's not like he was just a 0-star out of nowhere. He's got a good body of talent behind him, so, we'll see. But yeah, okay, we've done that. So let's go on to the running backs. Obviously, there's 2 of each, so they're in tandem, so we've got to take them as pair, who overall is the best. And here we are from the ACC. We have Mark Fletcher Jr. of the Miami Hurricanes, and we have Isaac Brown of Louisville. In the Big 12, we've got LJ Martin of BYU and Cameron Dickey of Texas Tech. In the SEC, we've got Ahmad Hardy out of Missouri and Kawan Lacey out of Ole Miss. And then in the Big 10, we've got Antoine Raymond of Rutgers and Bo Jackson of Ohio State. Just a little breakdown on these. Mark Fletcher, Miami, he's a true senior. 2,306 rushing yards, 26 rushing touchdowns, just 5 fumbles, goes at 3.6 yards after contact on average, 104 missed tackles forced in his career, 300 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. He is a career Hurricane. He's 7th on their all-time rushing yards list and 5th on all-time rushing touchdowns. First place in both categories is attainable if he has a healthy season, so he could go down as one of the best rushers Miami has ever had, and rightly so. Isaac Brown, he's just a true junior. He's just over 2,000 rushing yards, 18 rushing touchdowns, fumbled just 4 times, over 4.5 yards after contact on average. In 2025, that was 5.3. So after contact, he got half a first down. 76 missed tackles forced, 200 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. He was the first true freshman in Louisville history to rush for 1,000+ yards. He won the AACC Rookie and Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had some injuries that hampered his 2025, but he still managed nearly 900 yards with injuries bugging him, so he is special. LJ Martin, he's 6'2", 225 pounds out of BYU. He's a true senior. Over 2,500 rushing yards, 23 rushing touchdowns, fumbled just 4 times, 3.5 yards after contact on average, 120 missed tackles forced in his career, 400 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. He's the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He had a 1,300-yard season last year, and he's also this year's preseason Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He's 9th all-time in BYU's rushing yards category. A 1,000-yard season, though, would take him 2nd all-time, behind only Lions legend Jamal Williams. Cameron Dickey, the Red Raider, he's smaller. He's 5'10", 215. He's a junior. Just 1,362 rushing yards in his career. And 15 rushing touchdowns, 58 missed tackles forced, 262 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. But pretty much all of his production came last year. He had a 1,400-yard all-purpose season with 16 touchdowns, and he had over 30 explosive runs, which highlight his big play danger in that Red Raiders offense. Get to the SEC, guys. What do you say about Ahmad Hardy? 5'10", 210 pounds. He's a true junior, so he's only played 2 years. He's got 3,000 rushing yards, 29 rushing touchdowns. He's fumbled just 6 times. He goes at nearly 4.5 yards after contact on average. 190 missed tackles forced in 2 years. He is 1st in yards after contact, 2nd in missed tackles forced, and 10 plus yard runs in 2025 as well. Although the overling, I think he was shot in the leg in this off-season, and there are concerns that his career might be over. But for now, he is still in here. Keywan Lacey, the Old Miss Rebel, he's 5'11", 210 pounds. He's a junior. 1,500 rushing yards, 24 rushing touchdowns. Only fumbled 3 times, but goes at just 3.2 yards after contact on average. 90 missed tackles forced, 177 receiving yards. But his national rankings last year, he was first in the nation in first downs gained. He was second in rushing touchdowns, third in rushing yards, third in missed tackles forced, fourth in yards after contact. He carried that Old Miss Rebs offense, especially while waiting for Chambliss to settle down into that offense. And then finally you got the Big Ten guys. Antoine Raymond, he's a junior, nearly 1,700 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns. Only fumbled 2 times in his career as well. Goes at about 3.5 yards after contact. He's forced over 100 missed tackles, nearly 300 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns as well. He's the reigning John Cornish Trophy winner. That's for best Canadian player in college football. He had a 1,500 all-purpose yard season last year with 15 touchdowns. He had 3 150-plus yard rushing performances in the Big Ten as well. And then you've got Bo Jackson. He's 6 foot 217 pounds, the true sophomore. He was a true freshman last year. Broke out big in that Ohio State offense. Went for just under 1,100 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, fumbled it just once, went over 4 yards after contact, forced 35 missed tackles. He had a receiving touchdown as well. He was a freshman All-American, and he was one of just 3 true freshmen in the FBS to run for 1,000-plus yards last season. I mean, we have the creme de la creme here, right? We have 2 career guys in the ACC who've both been amazing. We've got 2 big workhorses in the Big 12, your rough and tumble style runners. We've got 2 bona fide superstars in the SEC. And then you've got the 2 names people won't know as much about in the Big 10, but never write off a Rutgers running back. They are some of the best running backs you will come across. And Bo Jackson really held things together for that Ohio State team last year when C.J. Donaldson didn't quite work out as the all-down back they were hoping he would, and did it as a true freshman as well. This is an insanely talented bunch of running backs.
Yeah, this is quite difficult. You've got varied rushing types. You've got a very good complement. Like I say, these guys don't play together, but ranking them, very good complementary pairs, all crucial to their teams. And some of these guys, are more household than others. Like I say, some playing lesser conferences, but some of them put together some huge teams that carried their offenses on their back a bit last year.
Yeah, they did indeed. Mark is in the building and says, "Hey, you guys, I'm late, so we'll catch previous later. I hope you're doing well." Mile marker. I mean, the sad story in this is obviously Ahmad Hardy this offseason. Like, the dude looked like he was going to be the next generational thing out of college, and whilst he's still on here, the thought is he's probably not going to play this year as a minimum. He might be done altogether, but I mean, Christ almighty, we might never see the likes of that 2-year run again from anybody that he's put forward. I think out of all of these here, he's clearly the most talented.
Yeah, he's by far the most talented player here. The 2-year stack he's put together at ULM in Missouri is just otherworldly. He was going to be a consensus top 5 pick. He was going to be a candidate for offensive rookie in the NFL straight away. Like I said, they would have been clamouring for him. The way that first round running backs have got hot again, he was the next in line to take that mantle. I would have had a serious Heisman case here. It's one of those where I suppose you just have to take the year off, find a way to rehab, find a way to get his body back, how it warp his legs, what it means for draft potential and coming back in a year, or just getting fit and going straight to draft. I mean, like I say, it's been radio silence for a while now. We really don't know how that situation is going to pan out and what it means for Missouri Tigers this year. It's a disaster.
Yeah, it's been about a month. Apparently, he was doing well through his 6-week recovery, but then there's been nothing since then. And I think Missouri, it's striking that the media days are coming up and they're sending the other running back not Hardy. So that would suggest that he's probably not going to start this year, and it might be a while before
It's
we
ranking them a lot harder
see
too.
him. Yeah, it's because you never know with these.
Hard to just rank the star on paper.
Well, this we're ranking the raw talent of the players, so I think we can just we take the gunshot out the equation and we rank him as the raw player that he is. So let's just get back to that.
One then.
Bear with me. So this is really tough. I do feel consensus wise, I think we're gonna put the SEC as one, right? Because
I think this is to work backwards.
Even with Hardy, with Kewan Lacey, I mean, how good was he last year for that Reds team?
Yeah.
Because especially with Trinidad Chambliss had a wonderful year, and he came in and did a great job. He was able to do that because Kewan Lacey was so consistent at running back and just had the biggest of seasons for them. So, I think those two altogether are absolutely incredible. I'm looking towards the ACC at 2 because Isaac Brown.
I think he's a legend already in the making.
Isaac Brown is the difference maker when you're going at something like 8.4 yards per carry, which he was last year.
Yeah, like I said, Brown is the explosion. Mark Fletcher is the tank. He is the force, the battering ram.
And Mark Fletcher has again started since he was a true freshman. He started since day one.
The title.
Yeah.
He bailed him out of a lot of shaky performances under centre.
Yeah, he's just been a measure of consistency for 3 years, and if he has another good year this year, he could go down as one of Miami's all-time rushers. So I would be putting them at 2. I'm quite happy doing that. Now the trouble comes with the other two, because I love LJ Martin. I think LJ Martin is, one of the most talented running backs in college. But I do love Antoine Raymond as well, and I have an affinity for Rutgers running backs. And Bo Jackson last year was incredibly good, but then you've got to look at Cameron Dickey as well. And yes,
I like him. I feel like he's the weak link in this chain of the.
Yeah, but he obviously had a big part to play with the Red Raiders last year, especially when the QBs sort of struggled with injury a bit. He was there, and they're the big workhorses, but it's LJ Martin doing the carrying in that group for me. I think talent-wise, he's one of the better ones in this.
You look at Bo Jackson this year, bigger slice of the pie. What he could get a huge part of that offense now. Receivers, tight ends have gone. They may go to a more balanced offense. They've lost their wide receiver coach. They may go to a more power running style. Bo Jackson could be about to be in lights.
Yeah, this is tough. My heart though is saying, as much as I love LJ Martin, my heart is saying that maybe the Big Ten should go 3rd here.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay,
a well-rounded pair.
Yeah, I feel rotten for the Big 12 because it's finished last twice now, and I don't think that's fair, really, in the grand scheme of things.
I think it will redeem itself.
Yeah, it can redeem it. Like, the defense really carried it last year, so maybe it will this year. But, again, LJ Martin's a fantastic running back. I absolutely love him. I'm looking forward to seeing him play for BYU this year. And maybe Dickey will be that part of the Red Raiders this year, and he will stand out as a star. But, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to stick with there. Right, we're going to move it on to the receivers. Now, there are 3 of each, so we have to take them in line as triumvirates and see what we can get out of them this year. So in the ACC, we have Bryant Wesco Jr. of Clemson, Deuce Robinson of Florida State, and Malachi Toney of the Miami Hurricanes. In the Big 12, we've got Amarian Miller of Arizona State, we've got Amari Thomas of Houston, and Jordan Dwyer of TCU. In the SEC, we've got Ryan Wingo of Texas, Mario Craver of Texas A&M, Cam Coleman of Texas, so a lot of Texas guys in there. And in the Big Ten, we've got Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State, Griffin Wild of Northwestern, and Charlie Becker of Indiana. So as we've got 3 of each, we're gonna chat about them conference by conference as we go through, so I don't end up chatting for ages. So we're going to talk about the ACC guys first, just in general. So Bryant Westco Jr. of Clemson, he's 6'2", 195 pounds. He is a true junior X receiver, 1,244 receiving yards, 11 receiving touchdowns. He's got 80 punt yard return yards as well, but he's not really a returner. He's a deep threat, got a career 17.3 yards per reception average. He was a freshman All-American in 2024. He was on course for a big 1,000-yard sophomore season before injury curtailed his season in week 7, so stats not really reflective of him. He's been very good, it's just the injuries kind of banjaxed his sophomore year there. Deuce Robinson of the Seminoles, he's 6'6", 230 pounds, by far the biggest receiver of any of these on here. He's a senior this year, also plays at the X. Just over 1,800 receiving yards and 13 receiving touchdowns. He was the first 1,000-yard receiver for Florida State since 2019 last year. So that was a 6-year wait for a 1,000-yard receiver. 19.3 yards per reception showcase a huge downfield threat from him. He garnered more votes for the Biletnikoff than any other receiver in the ACC, so the experts felt like he was one of the best receivers in the ACC last year in terms of when it came to the Biletnikoff. And then we've got the phenom, Malachi Toney from the Miami Hurricanes. He is 5'11", 188 pounds. He is a true sophomore slot receiver. And his true freshman year, 1,211 receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns, 290 punt return yards, 113 rushing yards. What didn't he do last year? So he had a 1,600-yard all-purpose season. That led to ACC Rookie of the Year, ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Freshman of the Year for all of college football, All-ACC First Team, All-American. He broke Miami receiving records. He set the single-season reception record at 109. That was 24 better than the previous record. He broke the single-season receiving yards record with 1,211. He's the first receiver to ever go past 1,200 yards for the Hurricanes. And he matched the single-game reception record of 13. He only needs 92 more receptions to set the team career record for receptions. And he's only played 1 season. If he stays healthy, then even if he declares as an underclassman in the 28 draft, every single school receiving record is under threat. Oh yes, and by the way, he forced 33 missed tackles last year, which was the best of any receiver in the FBS. I mean, we talk about superstars here, right? There's probably 2 superstars in these receiver groups, but we're starting with one here. Malachi Toney is an absolute freak of nature and leads a pretty good showing for the ACC here.
Yeah, I love this group. I think it's such a varied offense. Like I say, you've got big X receivers that are good in the red zone. You've got guys that work out of the slot and that are really smooth. And you've got Malachi Toney, a star player that can play on special teams. He's got big play potential when he touches the ball. They're very varied and they've been key integral pieces to their offense, especially last year. They were the main men going forwards here. They are a very dangerous, varied trio that, I have them high on my imaginary list in my head. They're really up there.
Yeah, if like Bryant Westco would have been healthy all last year, like, because it just feels
his availability to help Clemson.
It just feels like he had superstar written all over him, and he's just not being allowed to get to that point yet. But he's on track, but he's not quite got there. Moving on to the Big 12 ones. These will be the ones you've probably lesser heard of, but doesn't mean they're any less good. So we've got Amarian Miller of the Sun Devils to start with. He's 6'2" and 210 pounds. He's a senior this year. He is an ex-receiver, nearly 1,300 career receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns. This is another big play receiver. He goes at 19 yards per reception over his career. He had an injury in 2024 which delayed his rise to starter at Colorado, where he was for 3 years. But in that absolute mess of a Colorado team last year, who started 3 different quarterbacks in 2025, he led the team with 805 yards and 8 touchdowns, which was over 40% of the Buffalo's production. He is 62% on contested catches as well. He's looking to follow in the steps of the last wide receiver to transfer from Colorado to Arizona State, Jordan Tyson. He did pretty well for himself over his career. You've got Amari Thomas, the Houston Cougar. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds. He's a senior this year as well. He's a hybrid. He's got nearly 2,100 career receiving yards, 23 receiving touchdowns. Last year at Houston, he had nearly 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. He was incredibly consistent last year. Arizona State were the only team that held him under 50 yards in the Big 12 last year. He's got a 71% completion on his reception rate for nearly 190 catches. He spent his first 2 years at UAB, but he made the move up easily to the Power 4 last year, and he's going to be the main weapon for Connor Weigman or Keyshawn Henderson this year on a team that's looking to win it all. And then we got Jordan Dwyer of the TCU Horned Frogs. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds. Another senior, so these guys are all seniors. He's an ex-receiver. Just over 2,400 receiving yards. He's got 25 receiving touchdowns. Had a great last couple of years. So he was an Idaho Vandal for the first few years. In 24, he had 1,204 yards and 12 touchdowns in his last year at Idaho. Last year at TCU, he had 738 yards and 7 touchdowns. So over the last 2 years, he's got 135 receptions and over 2,000 yards. This is a guy at the peak of his powers who again has had no problem making the huge jump from the FCS to the Power 4. So these are the guys out of all of these, Rye, who a lot of people will not have heard of. But Amari Miller, great deep play threat, who I'm sure you're glad has helped restock that receiving core at Arizona State. But then 2 very successful transfers from below on teams looking to go big this year. TCU make good receivers, we know that. Amari Thomas is figured to be one of the best receivers here this year. Not household names, but very good workman-like receivers here.
Yeah, they'll all be key. They'll be integral parts of their offenses. They'll all be leading the line. They've all been around the block a while. They've all been worked their way up to get to this point here now, like say through different programs or up through the ranks from the FCS to the FBS. All been very productive. All have big player potential. All, the lesser known names of all the names we'll read out here, but Big 12 wide, they're known very well and respected. And someone has to win the Big 12, make an impact in the playoffs. There's a good chance that you could hear one of these names, maybe 2, like say, in the playoffs next year. So they're definitely going to be guys to watch out for this year. And especially Marion for the 2027 draft. Like I say, he's joining the Sun Devils just the right time to try boost his name and get a bit of spotlight on it, and following the footsteps, if you say, Tyson, that used the Sun Devils as a big platform to work his way to be maybe the next star of the NFL. So definitely guys to watch.
And good quarterbacks for them all. You've got Cutter Bowley, you've got Connor Weigman, and you've got Jaden Craig. So 3 good quarterbacks.
Quarterback situations. I think that they're the interesting factor when I consider the receiver.
Yeah, like how well will they do with the
I'm going to have to try separate their QB situations, which makes me want to knock them.
Yeah.
On their own.
But Amari Miller did it with whatever the hell they had at Colorado last year. Like, it was such a mess there. So, like, I've always admired him from afar. In the SEC, we've got all the Texas guys. So we've got Ryan Wingo from the Longhorns. He's 6'2", 214 pounds. The junior X-receiver. He's got 1,300 career yards and 9 receiving touchdowns. He's coming off a good sophomore season, 834 yards and 7 touchdowns. But for me, he's not quite broken out yet like some thought he would. He's got some issues to clear, had 7 drops in 2025, and just a 28% contested catch win rate, which for a guy his size is a little low. But when the ball is in his hands, he's a yak nightmare. He's got high-end speed, great change of direction. Hopefully he's going to have more consistent play from his quarterback this year as well to help him out, and a better team around him in general. You got Mario Craver of Texas A&M. I love this kid. He's only 5'9", 165 pounds. Proper slot receiver. He's a true junior. Started off at Miss State. Catch the eye as a true freshman. Got the big move to TAMU. Had a fantastic year last year. Overall, he's got about 1,300 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. He's got a rushing touchdown as well, as they used him a bit out the backfield this year. But again, as I say, big first year at TAMU. 1,000 all-purpose yards and 5 touchdowns. He is small, but he is rapid. And when the ball is in his hands, good luck trying to catch him. He's got terrific feet and movement skills. No receiver in the SEC forced more missed tackles than Craver did last year. He had 22. And of all the returning SEC receivers this year, no one had more yards after the catch than Craver last year. His running mate Casey Conception is now gone, but he's still got Marcel Reed throwing him the football this year, and he is uncanny in his ability to get open. And then you've got Cam Coleman, 6'3", 201 pounds, another true junior X. He's got 1,300 receiving yards and 13 receiving touchdowns. One of the most athletically gifted receivers you will find, and he just has this magician's way of getting the ball in his hands. Like, you throw it in his direction, he will find a way to get it. He slogged it out for 2 years on an awful Auburn team. I'm surprised he did 2. We all thought he'd transfer last year, and now he finds himself on a stacked natty contender. He could be considered a front runner for the Biletnikoff, possibly an outsider for the Heisman. Got all the seniors in the Big 12 right, but we got all the juniors here, the young guys, the studs, the breakouts. Wingo, it's not quite happened for yet, but Craver and especially Cam Coleman, we're all looking to see what he does this year, because this could be special.
See, I have big reservations about this group. Coleman, like I say, I picked him to beat the Biletnikoff last year. Huge fan of him, but as much as I want to blame Auburn as well, but so far it's not happened for him yet. He has really failed to live up to expectations, and that's a mixture of all factors. So it's a big year for him, decided to finally hit the portal, get his big move. Wingo, I mean, drops, laziness, inconsistencies. He can blame the QB situation all he wants, but Wingo's definitely disappointed in his time in Texas. Like I said, the numbers don't reflect how much he should have been when he's been a factor. So it's a big year for him. Like I said, I'm with you. I love Craver. He's a star. The NFL doesn't care about how small or light you are. The guy will make an absolute killing on special teams and returning kicks next year. He's going to have a monster year. He's going to have some serious all-purpose yardage. I think Craver carries this group a little bit by being the one true performer to date. But potential-wise and ceiling-wise, it's definitely the highest. But they've got a lot to prove.
Oh, yeah.
They've definitely all got something to prove, like I say, and they're all playing for something that's bigger than them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it.
Yeah, Craver's now got to do it as wide receiver 1 on his team, and Wingo and Coleman have to coexist together and find their way forward. But if it works, my God, it'll work. And then we've got the Big Ten. Jeremiah Smith, 6'3", 223 pounds, plays for the Buckeyes. I mean, we don't really need to say that much about him, to be fair. He's the best receiver in college football. 2,500 receiving yards, 27 receiving touchdowns. He's also got 2 rushing touchdowns as well, so nearly 30 tutties in 2 years, 2,500 receiving yards. He is just the best all-round receiver in college football, period, and I think it's hard to argue against that right now. You got Griffin Wild, then, the Northwestern Wildcat. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He is a senior. He's a hybrid receiver, just shy of 2,500 receiving yards and 26 receiving touchdowns. This is the one that goes under the radar, properly under the radar. So he's quietly put together quite the career. He started at South Dakota State before transferring to Northwestern last season. But his sophomore year at South Dakota State was a big one. He went for nearly 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns before making a big jump up to the Big Ten with one of the smaller fish in the pond. And last year at Northwestern, he went for 880 yards and 8 touchdowns in his first season in the Power 4. He scored touchdowns in 5 separate Big Ten games, so he didn't stat pad against bad teams. He was consistently getting in the end zone. He even got one in Happy Valley against Penn State. He's not really a yak guy. He's more a very polished route runner who can take advantage of space to find gaps and move the chains, but he's got a year in the Power 4 under his belt now. His last year could well be the best, and if it is, the draft will come calling for him. He is properly under the radar. And then we have Charlie Becker, who, if you watch this pod, you will know all about, because we fell in love with him at the end of last year. 6'4", 209 pounds, the Indiana Hoosier. He's a redshirt sophomore. He only has 680 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. By far the least production of anyone on this list. But his production is probably more valuable than any other player on this list. He turned into a big game player at the end of last year as Elijah Sarrett was dealing with injury. Omar Cooper had a couple of knocks. Indiana needed a third guy to stand up, and he did. He broke out against Penn State in Happy Valley when Indiana were really struggling. It took a last drive win for them there, but he put up a hundo in that. He then put up a hundo in the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State. He had touchdowns against Alabama and Oregon in the playoffs, and then made some really big catches in the Natty to help the Hoosiers shock the world and win the entire thing. And I mean, some of the catches he made in the biggest moments of his career were crazy for a freshman. He just looked like a veteran senior. He was not shook at all. He's got the size and range to dominate now that he's going to be the number one guy, because Sarrett and Cooper are both gone. He's going to be the number one guy. He's got a Heisman candidate in Josh Hoover, who's going to be slinging the dart to him this year. It's not a stretch to say in 12 months, Becker could be not maybe just the best receiver in the Big Ten once Smith leaves. He could maybe be the Power 4's premier receiver if he carries on developing the way that he is. I mean, you've got the bona fide superstar here, right? You've got the veteran who's worked his way up through tough teams and has consistently produced, and you've got the young star who's not done much, but what he has done has been incredibly impactful. It's a really intriguing group here from the Big Ten, but I like it.
I think this is the first group where we're really going to disagree. I think this could be one of the hardest. I like the Big Ten group. I just think it's very uneven. I just feel like Jeremiah Smith is doing some serious heavy lifting. Yeah, Griffin Wilder's good and has done well. Like I say, I feel like good, not great, plateau. Like I say, Charlie Beck, I agree. Like I say, maybe this time in the year we're talking about him. Like I say, it's the next big thing. I think this year's big for him, as you say, with the departure of his complementary piece at Indiana, incoming QB that, like I say, Hoover is a pure gunslinger. Maybe that'll be good for him. Like I say, it might give him a few more opportunities to give him the ball. Like I say, it might inflate the offense a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how these three guys do. Well, how two of them do anyway.
Yeah, this is tough, right? This is really tough because, like in the ACC, you've got a bona fide star, you've got a nice little mix there.
The fact that I love the ACC.
Yeah, I do.
You know, I think it's top two.
I would just love Wesco to have just done a little bit more, but obviously the injury, like that, you can't legislate for that.
You feel bad, but I feel like I know who we have to put for. And it does look like we've got an agenda, but we don't.
We really don't. Oh, you're right. It depends how you look at this. Like you say, Charlie Becker this year has to prove he can be the guy for Indiana. Like, what he did last year was great, but it was almost, Isaac Teslar-esque, where he could go out and make the fancy catches under no pressure because they got stars on the team, and he was under no pressure. Griffin Wild, as you say, has done it on bad teams. Well, I don't say bad teams, but SDSU are a good team, but he's been at a lower level for a lot of his career. How good just is he? Then you've got the SEC lot who by name power have the name power.
I just feel like they're going to let me down. They just feel like a group of disappointment.
Yeah, I feel rotten. Again, I feel like the Big 12 shouldn't have 3-4s in a row. But it is tough. Is it like you can't they don't win the name value battle. They don't win like the star battle.
No, there isn't one of them there. There's no Boletnikov
No.
potential there.
If you're saying what they could be at the end of this year, like, they could overtake some of these groups. If Becker and Wild don't do too well in the Big Ten, and Amarian Miller stands out for Arizona State, Dwyer has Craig flying darts at him all year, they could move their way up. I think I would reluctantly have to go again. I hate this. Yeah. I think it just shows how good they are, but I think the Big 12 again is just behind. Now it starts to get tricky. I feel like you're going to say to me the Big 10 is 3.
No, I'm putting the SEC. I put the SEC at 3.
Ooh, see,
I just feel like they will fail to live up to expectation.
See, people are going to look at us and go, we don't know what we're talking about, because obviously Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo, and that. I love Mario Craver. I think Cam Coleman
I love Craver, but like I don't really get Wingo. I ain't high in the Wingo vibe.
No. It's who do... I would... Yeah, I think 3 is there. Like, what they could be is they could be the best of this lot by far as a 3. Like, they could be so far above, it's crazy. I love
so
Mario
much more
Craver.
than the SEC, but they're not as a 3 going to outperform them vastly.
No. That's 3 there. And then, because I am massive on Charlie. I like, the second I saw Charlie Becker last year, he just screamed out star to me. So for me, there's 2 bona fide stars in that Big 10 group, although
I'm happy to put the
ACC
at 2 and the Big 10 at 1.
Malachi Tony's just going to be... See, this is tough, because this is basically, you've got, like, Juice Robinson's...
Can he do that again? Who's the FSU QB?
Yeah, like, if you were rating these 1 to 3, like, Juice Robinson's better than Griffin Wild as, like, the third guy here. Jeremiah Smith...
and Becker are probably on a par.
That's it, but Jeremiah Smith is better than Malachi Tony in the way Juice Robinson's better than Griffin Wild, so it's the 2s. Who do you do with the 2s? And Wesco has the production in his career so far, and he is very talented, but Becker just has that clutch gene in him, which I like. I would want...
Hoover's coming in, like you say, it's going to be a more vertical passing offense to show Becker's talents, I think.
So are we going to go ACC at 2?
Yeah, I think we do that.
I'm happy to do that. I'm so big on Becker right now that I would have to put him at 1. So we've got the Big 10 there. So that was absolutely tough, but we will see. I'm just going to quickly make sure. I don't think I've missed any comments or anything. No. Lovely. Right, we're going to move on to tight end. And maybe not as long as a debate as some of the other ones have been so far. But tight ends, the guys we have up here. So from the ACC, we've got Jeremiah Hasley of Duke. From the Big 12, we've got Terrence Carter of Texas Tech. From the SEC, we've got Trades Green, the absolute athletic freak from LSU. And then Big 10, we've got Big Benjamin Brahma, the 6'7" behemoth. From Penn State, the transfer with all the others who went from Iowa State. So I feel like this is going to be a little... So we've got 2 big guys here. Brahma's 6'7", 255 pounds. Can't run block to save his life, but has 1,000 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns in his career. He's also a pretty decent pass blocker. Trades Green is a redshirt junior. Only 500... career receiving yards, but he's got 11 touchdowns. He run blocks at 60, pass blocks at 72. He's also 6'7" and 240 pounds. So those are your 2 big ones. The 2 smaller guys, Terrence Carter, 6'2", 245 pounds. But best receiver, statistically, 1,500 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. He run blocks at 67 and pass blocks at 66. And then you've got Jeremiah Hasley of Duke. He's 6'3", 245 pounds. He's got 517 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. He run blocks at 74 and pass blocks at 72. So Hasley is the best blocker statistically of these. Carter is the best receiver out of all these statistically. Trades Green is the best athlete by far out of all of these, and Benjamin Brahma is probably the biggest mismatch in the red zone out of all of these. This is a very much take your pick category here, right? I know we were talking about Terence Carter the other week. I think you're pretty big on him, but we unanimously talked about Trades Green just being the best there is. But I love Benjamin Brahma as well. But then we can't ignore Jeremiah Hasley, who's just won an ACC with Duke. What are your thoughts here?
I suppose when you're ranking a tight end, we can't ignore their blocking, which means for me, Trades Green definitely can't be one. Because like I say, I just don't think he'll block much this year, and I don't think he'll block as a pro.
It's tough. I mean, 72 as a pass blocker, 60 as a run blocker. It's
Talking who is the most well-rounded here, it would be Brahma. Who's got the most potential to make a serious NFL draft case as a tight end is Benjamin.
he does, but his run blocking's like his run blocking doesn't exist. So
Potentially, we'll have to make him better at that, surely. Such
yeah,
a run blocking school.
it is. They love to run the ball, but obviously they've just lost their two top running back, like two of the best running backs the school has ever had. Obviously, he's taken. I think he's taken one of the two with him, not Abu Sama, the other one. I think the other one's gone with him, but it's just, I love Benjamin Brahma, but I feel like his run blocking does take a little bit away from him. But then Hasley's the best blocker of these lots, grade wise. But then Trades Green just has a ceiling that none of these guys do. But you are also the big Terence Carter fan, and Terence Carter's a good all round blocker. He's a good receiver as well.
Yeah, he will be big. He'll be important this year.
I mean, this might sound. I'd be putting Brahma at 4. I'd be looking at that. I don't know, but he is a good receiver. It's tough. I can't ignore how bad he's.
That was the Penn State move for him. I feel like maybe it does as a receiver.
Yeah, but then we can't. Like Terence Carter is the best receiver. Like, is Terence Carter better than any of these? Could he be? I feel like maybe he might be a bit better than Hasley. The grades are not much less.
We put Hasley last just because, he's a blocker.
Yeah, obviously he can. He's got the touchdowns. Well, I think Hasley was always 4 for me when I was thinking about this. But again, not anything against him. What do you value? Tight ends as a red zone threat, his size and mismatch skill is invaluable, but Terence Carter's a better receiver overall. But, that Texas Tech team love to throw the ball a bit. It's... I would probably put Brahma at 3.
Yeah, get behind that.
We can get behind Brahma at 3. And again, I love Benjamin Brahma, but that run blocking is really going to hurt him at the next. Someone will take him as a receiving tight end. And he doesn't have the athletic upside that Trades Green does, or the receiving, overall receiving ability Terence Carter does. Are we putting Carter at 2 then?
Yeah, like you say, we do have one side of the blocking at least from Trades Green, and he's a red zone monster. So I suppose that has to kind of shoehole him into one.
Yeah, I think that he's there for a reason. Obviously, more game time and that we'll see him, but I just think what his overall product could be.
And an incoming QB situation, Trades Green's income situation is a lot better than what Terence Carter's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've got that there. That is all good and proper. I'm gonna have had a comment. Let me just have a look. Raw Biz is in the building. Hope you're doing well, Raw Biz. Mark is in there still as well. If you've got anything you want to put in there, just let us know. We're just doing our rankings at the moment, as you can see. Lowest score wins. We're ranking our groups 4 through to 1. Now, the offensive line we do by position. We don't do them all as a 5. So we've got the centres up first. So the 4 centres we have. The ACC, we've got Joshua Bates from SMU. Big 12, we've got Bruce Mitchell from BYU. SEC, we've got Drew Bobo from Georgia, and the Big Ten, we've got Yapani Lalulu from Oregon. Bates is 6'3", 315 pounds. He's a transfer from Oklahoma. In his 2025, he graded 66 with his run blocking, 80 with his pass blocking. He didn't give up a single sack all year and just 2 quarterback hits for SMU in nearly 530 pass pro snaps. Bruce Mitchell at BYU, he's a little taller. He's 6'4", 305. Last year, he got a 77 run blocking grade and a 79 pass blocking grade. Did well in both disciplines. Just 2 sacks and 1 quarterback given up quarterback hit given up in 472 pass pro snaps. Obviously blocking for the true freshman Bear Backmeyer, which won't have helped him either. So all the more remarkable job either the way. Drew Bobo at Georgia, he's 6'5", 305 pounds, so even bigger his last year. Run blocked at 71, pass blocked at 76. Didn't give up a single sack or a quarterback hit. He gave up just 6 hurries last year in 376 pass pro snaps. And then you've got Lalulu, who many people thought was going to declare this year in a weaker centre class. 6'2", 329 pounds. He, last year, run blocked at 64, but he pass blocked at 83. He gave up 1 sack and 5 quarterback hits in 466 pass pro snaps. But it should be said, he has only given up 1 sack in 3 years, which is nearly 1,250 pass protection snaps. This is a great set of centers here, right? Obviously, Lalulu was the one we thought might go last year, didn't, has come back. We'll see. But Drew Bobo has been great for Georgia, but it's on a stacked team. Bruce Mitchell, the job he did with a true freshman quarterback was phenomenal. And Joshua Bates, very good season there for SMU. This is a good bunch of safeties we've got here. I think it may be hard to distinguish some of these.
Yeah, like you say, it's going to come down to a numbers game, really. Build, I suppose they don't really, to me, the numbers of their size and weight don't mean a lot. Like you say, you look at who's the best well-rounded, it was Bobo. He kept his QB the cleanest. The grades on both sides were the most efficient against the best interior DTs, probably in the country. Like you say, Lalulu made the decision to come back, had a very good season last year. He's looking to build on it this year. But yeah, it can't be denied that Bruce Mitchell had a great year, protecting a freshman QB that looked a bit flustered at times and was incredibly well-rounded as well in his pass pro and his run blocking. Yeah, Bates had a great year for SMU. What was a good season in one of the most competitive ACCs we've been in a while. So it's very much it's hard to decide who to put last.
I know, my initial thought is going 4 at Bates, 3 at Mitchell, 2 at Lalulu, 1 at Bobo. Again, I'm trying to get the ACC and Big 12 love in the top 2, but obviously Lalulu rightly had the draft buzz around him last year. He did struggle a tiny little bit, and he's going back, but he's still got all-round pedigree, and Bobo's just been dominating. Even for a 6'5" centre, which I think is too tall at the next level, but you can't deny how good he's been. But again, it just feels cruel to the guys at the back, because I think all of these in their own right. But I think Bruce Mitchell working with a true freshman QB just puts him over Bates.
I agree. Bates at 4 and Bobo at 1. I'd say they're locks almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's a toss-up between Mitchell and Lalulu.
Oh, you're putting Bobo at 3?
1.
Oh, Bobo at 1. Oh, right. Yeah.
The 2 guys in the middle seem somewhat interchangeable.
Oh,
it's make a case to put Mitchell at 2.
I think you could as well. I was not enamored with Lalulu last year. I think Mitchell can go at 2, and I think Lalulu can go at 3. Yep, I think we can work with that. That's absolutely fine with me. So, but it is a good bunch of centres this year, so we'll see. But Lalulu could become first on this list sooner rather than later. But I have a thing for BYU and their trench players. They just have a way of proving you right over the years. Right, we're going to move on to the guards. Hang on, no, we don't want to do that. We want to do that. So, in the ACC, we've got Lance Robinson of Louisville, and we've got Malachi Carney of Georgia Tech. In the Big 12, we've got Shadray Hurst of Houston and Evan Tengestal of Cincinnati. In the SEC, we've got Jesse Perry of Tennessee and Patrick Kutas of Ole Miss. And then in the Big 10, we've got Greg Johnson of Minnesota and Cade Piper out of Iowa. In terms of the ACC guys, Lance Robinson, he's 6'4", 295 pounds, vastly experienced. 2,500 snaps in college over a career that started at Middle Tennessee State and then has ended up at Louisville. He gave up just a single sack last year for the Cards. Malachi Carney, he's 6'4", 335. He's also got 2,000 snaps at collegiate level, but they've been at right tackle for South Alabama and for Georgia Tech last year, but they're kicking him inside this year. So 4,500 snaps between those two, and good resumes there. The Big 12, Shardre Hurst, I adore. 6'2", 295 pounds. He is the elite Tulane left guard. He's rejoining Willie Fritz after starting his career with him with the Green Wave. He's given up just one sack in the last 3 years as part of the Green Wave, and the last 2 years his run blocking grade has been at 80 or above. Tengasdal is 6'3", 323 pounds. It was his first year as a starter last year. He gave up no sacks and just 2 quarterback hits last year, protecting Brendan Sorsby down the middle. He had a fantastic year there. In terms of the SEC guys, both of them are 6'6". Jesse Perry is 6'6", 320 pounds. He was a redshirt freshman starter last year. Gave up 3 sacks and 2 quarterback hits. 2 of those sacks did come against Vanderbilt. Pretty clear the rest of the year after that. Kutas is 6'6", 315 pounds. It was his first year as a full starter last year. He was an Arkansas transfer. Was there for 3 years. But gave up just 1 sack and 5 hits last year. He is a right guard. And then your Big Ten guys, Greg Johnson of Minnesota. He's 6'6", 325 pounds. In 2024, he was their starting center. They moved him to left guard in 2025. He's given up just 4 sacks in over 1,000 career pass protection snaps. He's been very consistent for the Golden Gophers on their interior. And then Cade Piper, the Iowa guard, the elite run blocker. He's 6'3", 298 pounds. It was his first year as a starter last year, although he got some in rotation beforehand. He gave up just 1 sack in pass protection, but this kid is an absolute run blocking mauler. You know what Iowa like there. We got couple of different groups here. The youngsters in the SEC in terms of starters, the veterans in the ACC, the guys who've been of both in the Big 12 and the Big 10 there, right? It's, again, competitive sets of guards here.
Yeah, like you say, you've got those that are not exactly battle tested just yet, but have got huge ceilings in these monster frames, whatever they feed the kids. And then you've got those savvy veterans that have been around the block, like their trench warfare, are looking about the future. I mean, you always look at the Big Ten and think, like, God, do make good interior offensive linemen. They love their guards, especially in Iowa, especially in the run game. Like I say, that physical, like I say, getting to the next level, lead blocking, they do really offer some there. So I suppose it's all looking about where the player is right now, like I said, how big a jump they could make this year. Like I say, the SEC boys could make a significant road for themselves this year if they can build on those young seasons last year. So this is one of the hard ones.
See, like, my initial thoughts here...
None of the household names as such.
No. My initial thoughts here is I'm picking between the Big 10 and 12 for 1 and 2 and the ACC and the SEC for 3 and 4.
I do like the Big 10 boys.
I do. I like the Big 12. I love... I've talked about Shardre Hurst before, back when he was at Tulane. He is an absolute monster. I have absolutely zero doubt he's going to be an all-conference selection at Houston. And Tengasdal did very well for that Cincinnati team, who nearly upset everyone last year before they just sort of fell off at the end. But they're 2 incredibly gifted guys. Johnson and Piper I really like as well. Perry and Kutas, both 1 year as starters, both kind of hit and miss. Kutas didn't start till his 4th year, really. Perry's only just started as well. I think the experience isn't quite there. And then obviously with the ACC lot, you've got the experience, but Carney's a tackle getting kicked inside. But I do really like Lance Robinson. But I'm feeling ACC at 4 again, as much as I don't want to go back in that direction.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
I'm feeling ACC at 4, just because...
I suppose if we're agreeing to put Big 10 at 1 and Big 12 at 2, that just, kind of sorts the rest, doesn't it? SEC at 3.
Yeah. I think the Big 10 have got the best pair there. The Big 12 at 2. So that's a good result for them. They're picking it back up a little bit, and then 3 for the SEC. Why was I putting them in red? I need to put them in yellow. There we go. We got a lot of matching colours here for these groups, but this is just how it works out. It might change when we got into defence. And then to finish off the offence, we've got the tackles. So, from the ACC, we've got Mikhail Bowley from Virginia and PJ Williams of SMU. In the Big 12, we've got Joe Cotton of Cincinnati and John Pastore of Kansas State. In the SEC, we've got Caden Green of Missouri and Trevor Gooseby of Texas. And then in the Big 10, we've got Carter Smith of Indiana and Austin Siereveld of Ohio State. Bowley's the long-term Virginia Cavaliers left tackle. He's 6'5", 316. Had a steady but unremarkable career for them. Just been a steady presence there for them without truly standing out. PJ Williams, though, he is a third-year Mustang right tackle. He's 6'5", 313 pounds. He has been a dog for them. He's an all-round run blocker and pass protector. Been part of that team that's really taken well to life in the Atlantic after the move up from the Group of 5. In the Big 12, Joe Cotton, 6'6", 320 pounds. He is a 3-year starter. The first 2 were at South Dakota State. Last year was in Cincinnati. Bearing in mind he was an FCS transfer coming up to the FBS last year, he didn't give up a single sack last season. He protected the blind side of Brendan Swordsby perfectly. And Pastore, he's also 6'6", 302. He's a 1-year starter at left tackle. He gave up just 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits last year as he dealt with an up and down year for Avery Johnson at Kansas State. The SEC guys, Caden Green, he's 6'5", 324 pounds, 3-year starter, started at Oklahoma, then went to Missouri, spent the first 2 years at left guard, then they kicked him out to left tackle last year in 25, and he dominated. He gave up just 2 sacks and 2 quarterback hits all year, and half of those came against Central Arkansas in week 1, an FCS team, so he was adjusting to the move change. But in SEC play, he barely gave up anything. And then Gooseby, 6'7", 312 pounds. There's a lot of chatter about him as a top 5 pick next year. He was Kelvin Banks' replacement on the blind side at Texas. He's got NFL size and length. It was his first year as a starter last year. He dominated both the run and the pass. He had 1 iffy game against Georgia and a bit of a tough time against Florida, but outside of that, he dominated all the SEC opponents put against him. And then in the Big 10, you've got Carter Smith of Indiana, for me, the best tackle in the game, 6'5", 315 pounds. He's been the Hoosiers' left tackle for the last 3 years. He has dominated everybody in the last 2 years. The only rough game he had was in the Natty when he was up against Bain, and pretty much everybody struggled against Ruben Bain last year. And then Siereveld, 6'5", 325. Started at left guard for Ohio State in 24. Moved to left tackle in 25. Another who dominated all season until he got to the playoffs and they met Miami. And Miami ate him alive. But it was still a great first year for Siereveld there. Again, great groups here. I think I would go straight away and maybe dismiss the ACC from this, but I think everyone else needs equal consideration here because I think there's 3 really good pairs.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Like I say, that each of those 3 groups definitely has a standout player that you can rank up against each other in a fair battle, I think.
It is, and, it depends what your flavour is, but the Big 12, I think, we've got quite a few players from South Dakota State on here who've made the move up and have made a seamless transition. Kind of shows how well trained they are at their program. But Joe Cotton was amazing last year in that Cincinnati team that kind of defied a lot. And then Pastore's done well at Kansas State, given they've been in flux. I feel like they are a very good pairing to go up against. But obviously the named pair are Green and Gooseby. There's athletic.
The next prodigy, apparently, the next heir apparent top 5, 10 NFL tackles.
Not to use an NFL pun, not to use an Ash pun, but he's like the golden goose of this lot. But then Caden Green has kind of, people talk about the athletic ability,
he's been around a long
domination,
on the block a while, and like I say, seen it all, done it all. He's a very experienced, savvy veteran.
Yeah, and then you look at the Big Ten. I think Carter Smith, again, for me, I put him up as one of the top tackles in the college football period. Sierreveld is taking his time. It was his first year last year. Got shown up a little bit at the end, but he's still a very solid tackle. And it's hard to protect against the blind side there. But I'm just wondering if he just... It does feel like the SEC... I don't know. I think the SEC wins it.
I think the SEC just edges this one.
I think they do as well.
But who from?
See, the trouble is, I am a massive fan of Joe
I'll
Cotton.
make a serious case for the Indiana tackle, yes.
Yeah, I love Joe Cotton and Carter Smith equally. It's just, do I like Sierreveld or Pastore more? And it's a dead heat there, so I'm not sure. I don't know if you've got a tiebreaker that you can put in there. But I'm... I'm...
I'd like to think Joe Cotton is going to have an absolutely monster year.
Yeah,
True.
I do. I think Carter Smith can... He's just dominated the last 2 years. I feel like he can only go backwards. I was surprised he didn't go to the draft, but at the same point, I can appreciate him doing that. Cotton could go back. It's that whole story. Like, Ohio State should be good, and Sierreveld, by process of elimination, is on a stacked team and should probably do pretty well, but has he got the talent level of what Pastore does?
Like I say, I'm happy to give the Big 12 a second place. Let them prove us right.
This feels really weird because I love Carter Smith. Putting him third feels odd. But, yeah, I could do that. I do believe in Joe Cotton. And I think Pastore can do it as well. See, that's a pretty decent... The Big 12's offensive line's done pretty... They got second all throughout the bat there. Like, they've done pretty well. I do believe in it. It's just it's not household names like the other two are. But I'm quite happy with what's gone on there. So, you good with that?
Yeah, buddy.
All right, let's move on to the defense. Let me just check I've not missed anything. Don't think I have. Raw Biz is in. Yeah, we've got the Minnesota guy in there, absolutely. I don't think he's the last one either. We're about to meet some more. We're going onto the defense now. We split the defensive ends and tackles for the defensive line because that is only fair. And it's fair to say this is one of my favourite groups out of the entire bunch. So edge rushers, the ACC sports, Clev Lubin from Louisville and Melkart Abu Jaoude from UNC. The Big 12, we've got Adam Trick from Texas Tech and Wendell Gregory from Kansas State. The SEC puts forward Colin Simmons from Texas and Dylan Stewart from South Carolina. And the Big 10 sports Anthony Smith from Minnesota and John Henry Daly from Michigan. Now, this ACC pair are deadly. Lubin is 6'3", 260 pounds. Over the last 2 years at Coastal Carolina and then his first year at Louisville last year, he has 21 sacks and 110 quarterback pressures, as well as 7 forced fumbles and 5 battered passes. Jaoude, he's 6'5", 260 pounds, the absolute epitome of an NFL frame, and no one has spoken about him because that UNC program has been all about Bill. But in his last 2 years, because he is also a transfer, he played at Delaware in 24 before coming to UNC last year. He's got 21 sacks and 65 quarterback pressures in the last 2 years. So between these two, over the last 2 years, we've got 42 sacks and nearly 180 quarterback pressures. Both of these kids have come up from lower levels, which is fantastic there. In terms of the Big 12, Adam Trick, he is 6'4", 249 pounds. Another transfer. He was at Miami of Ohio last year, so this is his first year in the Power 4. 8 sacks and 70 quarterback pressures, as well as 3 forced fumbles and 3 batted passes. He dominated for the Red Hawks last year. Gregory is an Oklahoma State transfer. This is his first year at K-State. He's 6'3", 265 pounds. As a redshirt freshman last year, he had 4 sacks and 32 quarterback pressures, but there is a lot of hype behind him. In the SEC, you've got Colin Simmons, one of the best players in college football, 6'3", 240 pounds. His last 2 years, he's got 19 sacks and 105 quarterback pressures, as well as 6 forced fumbles and an interception. Dylan Stewart didn't quite go for him last year how we thought it might, but he's 6'5", 250 pounds. He's the prototype. 12 sacks and 90 quarterback pressures for him. He dropped off along with that whole South Carolina team in 2025, but his run defense did shoot all the way up to 80, which was his weakness before. So he's had a great season as a pass rusher and a great season as a run defender. If he has a good year this year and combines them both together, he's a potential top 5 pick in the draft, and he's only a true junior this year. So the talent is still there. And then with the Big Ten lot, Antony Smith, what can you say about him? 6'6", 285 pounds. Over the last 2 years for Minnesota, he's racked up 20 sacks. He had 14 last year, and almost nobody seems to talk about him, but the exact sort of prototype length that the Detroit Lions look for in their edge rushers, but he can rush the passer as well. John Henry Daly, part of the big posse of players that have followed Kyle Whittingham over from Utah to Michigan. He's 6'4", 255 pounds. Hadn't done much before last year, but he broke out in a big way. He had 10 sacks last year for that Utah team. He had a wonderful Holy War game, just kind of took it all over. And yeah, Kyle Whittingham's star edge has come to join him in Michigan. I mean, instantly, Rye, I'm putting the Big 12 bottom here because they're 2 transfers, a redshirt freshman who's not really broken up and a group of 5 transfer who's not played yet. But outside of this is 3 incredibly good pairings. You've got Lubin and Jaude.
I think Lubin's one of the best defensive players in the whole country.
Yeah, and him and Jaude, considering they were both transfers from below, like Delaware and Coastal Carolina, 42 sacks between them. That is insane production from the pair of them. You've got the blue bloods in Simmons and Stewart. Stewart didn't take the step forward last year, but he's still a top 5 pick, and Colin Simmons is amazing. And then Antony Smith, one of the best pure pass rushers there is with the size, and Daly is also, that 24 sacks between the 2 of them last year. 2 very big, very brutal edge rushers there. Like, this is 3 incredibly good pairings.
Yeah, I suppose this is, like you say, another one of weighing up what the big household names have done, expectation, then consider how the new transfers fit into their new school.
I do. I feel like in any situation here, I feel like Lubin and Jaude have to be there at 2. I think they're better than 2. Yes, I think 2 makes sense. I feel it would be disingenuous because I think as a pair, in terms of the pure production alone, they deserve to be up there. Like, as pure pass rushers who have just been so good and have a career of doing it, they
I think
deserve to
NFL
be there.
scouts are looking at those 2 more than they will the Big Ten guys.
Yeah, now it's just, so you've got the 2 sexy names in the SEC. Like, Dylan Stewart's still got a lot of hype behind him, and he did improve his run game last year. Colin Simmons has been amazing since he started. But then you've got the 2 hard workers. You've got Antony Smith, who was ground away at Minnesota, and it absolutely deserves to be in the conversation as one of the best edge rushers in the country and deserves his love. Henry Daly just has that 1 year of production. Can he carry it to Michigan? That's the only thing that's holding me back a little bit with them, is that, it's just the 1 year.
Only one of the 4 entering a new system.
But he's with the same head coach.
But he's also entering a D-line that is kind of built for him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it feels like he's going to eat there this year.
He will be the main man that's going to get all the setups, yeah.
But you're talking about NFL players. Colin Simmons and Dylan Stewart quite clearly could both be the 2 better NFL players because they've got the athletic traits and stuff there. It's that's kind of the question here with this. I love Colin Simmons. I love Antony Smith. I do still believe in Dylan Stewart, but Daly, I think, is going to eat a lot this year. So again, it's the Simmons and Smith cancel each other out for me. It's do I believe in Stewart or Daly more?
I have more faith in Daly. I just feel like South Carolina primed to implode.
But if they bounce back this year, because they disappoint, will they
bounce back? It's probably because of Stewart, yeah.
But I've seen enough Gamecock skits now where their fans are just like, yeah, it never kind of works for us. But I think all eyes might be off them this year, because this time last year, all eyes were on South Carolina. I think now everyone's just like,
Everyone's written them off, to be fair.
yeah, the frauds. So you feel like they might just work better without the spotlight on them. Something's drawing me towards like the SEC going first, but
I can make a case that I say, yeah, if Dylan Stewart bounces back, you're talking to
the ceilings,
definite lock first round picks.
the ceilings are so much higher.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith could be a first round pick. I don't think Daly would be, even if he had a good year, because he's older.
Yeah, you can put the SEC at one. I mean that.
Yeah. I'm happy to do that. I think. Yeah, that's really tough though. I again, this is no disrespect towards any of them, but I'm giving the ACC its love for this because those two are tremendous guys, and they just, no one's put up more production than them two in the last 2 years. So you've got to take that into consideration, I think. So are we all reluctantly happy with that one?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me just check I've not missed any comments. Don't think I have. Nope. Let's see if you have any comments you want to put in there. We've got 4 groups to go. We've got the defensive tackles next. From the ACC, we've got Ahmed Moten from the Miami Hurricanes, and we've got Kamari Copeland from Virginia Tech. From the Big 12, we've got AJ Holmes out of Texas Tech, and we've got Keanu Tanuvasa from BYU. From the SEC, we've got William Eccles from Ole Miss and David Stone from Oklahoma. And then in the Big 10, we got Amaury Washington from Oregon and Tyreek Tucker from Indiana. Now, there's quite a few of these we know better here. This is one of the toughest ones here, right? Ahmed Moten obviously has just been to the Natty with Miami, one of the more dominant defensive tackles in football. Kamari Copeland's been a serviceable defensive tackle for Virginia Tech the last couple of years, although he's not really had his blowout year yet. The Big 12, AJ Holmes is predicted, and I've seen AJ Holmes, some people say he's the best defensive tackle in college football. Would you agree with that? I think he has been dominant. People have kind of missed him with all the other bits that are going on at Texas Tech, but would you agree AJ Holmes is the best D tackle in football?
Can make a good case for him, yeah.
Yeah, it's when you've got the likes of Lee Hunter and David Bailey and everything next to you.
The supporting cast around him last year was the best he'll probably ever play with until he gets to a pro.
But he is insanely good in his own right, AJ Holmes is. Tanuvasa, again, he's another who's been serviceable for BYU, but has not really had his breakout year yet. But he's a good run defender, as we know those BYU defensive linemen are, and he's very solid in there. The SEC, David Stone, he was the huge 5-star comet from a couple of years ago, and he has been working his way into this team gradually, been getting better and better. Had a fantastic year last year where there was him, Grayson Halton, and the third one I can never remember, but the other two have gone to the draft now. David Stone is the number 1 defensive tackle there in Oklahoma this year, and I'm expecting him to have an absolute break. Well, I'd say he's already broken out, but I think you're going to see his 5-star caliber this year. That Oklahoma D-line is threatening to be very good again. William Eccles at Ole Miss had a really good year for them. Again, another of the run defensive school. And we know what those Ole Miss defensive tackles are like. Go back a couple of years, Walter Nolan, etc. Eccles is in that image. And then in the Big 10, Tyreek Tucker, you heard me talk about him tons for Indiana last year. He's only a junior. He's got a ton of football still in front of him, but a 6-sack season. He had one of the best pairings last year of defensive tackles altogether, but he's a very good disruptive interior pass rusher. But obviously, no Mikhail Camera this year, no Daly on the other edge. They are rebuilding that D-line at Indiana, but he is still the focal point in the middle. But he's a pass rusher, he's a run blocker, maybe the best all-round tackle of all these. And then Amaury Washington out of Oregon. He has been a stalwart on that defensive line the last few years. Again, another dominant run-stuffing tackle, like these Big Ten guys are. They're big, they're brutal. It's a very good pairing altogether, Rye. I mean, we've got some really good D tackles in here, some that could potentially go very high in drafts as far as defensive tackles go, and then some who have had good careers. They're veterans. They got a lot of good snaps behind them, but have never quite been fully special.
Yeah, we've got a mix here, like say, guys that are black holes that just swallow up space and do it efficiently, but they do their job very, very well. And we've got some of those that are a little bit more nuanced, can shed blocks, but also have the knack for the ability to get after the quarterback, help collapse the pocket, and feed upon the scraps of others. So it's hard to judge. Like I say, it's the guys we're trying to determine, like I say, who offers what most, and has also got most versatility at the next level as well. Who is a one-man job and who can potentially play other roles going forward.
Yeah, it is. For me, this group, kind of you're looking at the best ones here who are floating them. Obviously, Ahmad Moten is flying the flag for the ACC. AJ Holmes for the Big 12. David Stone for the SEC. And then, you could make it a toss-up between Tyreek Tucker and Washington, but I'm a massive Tyreek Tucker fan. I think he's just one of those really underappreciated players for Indiana. 6 foot, 307 pounds, 7 sacks last year. He's got 12 in his last 3 seasons. Another one of those James Madison recruits who's just gone, absolutely crazy. Whilst he's been in Indiana,
Feels like the Big Ten has the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you think Amari Washington, 6'3", 330, like he's a tremendous run defender. 22 quarterback pressures as well. 8 battered passes. So
he's very good at the line, yeah. He's got good hands and good arms.
Gets his paws up and he's able to, get in the way of things there. So I think the Big Ten will go at 1 here for me.
Yeah.
If you're happy with that. Then we're looking maybe towards the SEC. So you've got Will Eccles, as I say, 6'3", 315 pounds. First year as a starter last year, but graded at 84 in run defense, but got half a dozen sacks as well. 6 battered passes for him. Only penalised once all season as well. As I say, 6'3", 315 is a perfect build. And then you've got David Stone, who is the archetype. He's 6'3", 315 as well. Another fantastic run defender. 26 quarterback pressures for him. You feel like the SEC would be next?
Yeah, like I say, it's a good, well-rounded pair. Both vastly experienced. They both do they're good at what they do, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're looking at... I've just realised I've stopped sharing my screen so people can't see. Where are we? Marbarker goes, Gophers, baby. Yep, there are a few Gophers in here. We got Holmes and Tanavasa and Moten and Copeland. I do feel like the Big 12 maybe should go third here. AJ Holmes is... I feel like
he's doing a lot of heavy carrying, but he's got the chance to make a huge impact, especially on his own this year. Could make a huge case for himself.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's just going to get ahead of Ahmed Moten there and Kamari Copeland. I think Copeland I looked at and I was just like, I'm not the most enamoured there. So, yeah, I think Holmes and Tanavasa just about make it. Right, we got the linebackers, biggest of all groups. We have 4 for each. So this one usually takes a little bit longer. So from the ACC, we got Matt Rose of Stanford, Cam Robinson of Virginia, Sammy Brown of Clemson, and Braylon Lovelace of Pittsburgh. We love Pittsburgh linebackers. In the Big 12, we've got Ben Roberts of Texas Tech, Cade Uluavi of BYU, Isaiah Glasgow of BYU, and Austin Romaine of Texas Tech. In the SEC, we've got Rasheem Biles of Texas, Xavier Atkins of Auburn, Raylan Wilson of Georgia, and Kip Lewis of Oklahoma. And then in the Big Ten, we've got Elijah Hardy at Indiana, Daniel Wingate of Maryland, Isaiah Jones of Indiana, and Jordan Hall of Michigan State. We have a lot of names to get through here, and we'll talk about them. But For me, right, the immediate two that jump out are the bigs, the 12 and the 10. We're looking at the Big 12 alone. You've got Austin Romaine, Texas Tech. Obviously, the huge transfer from Kansas State. Statistically, one of the best linebackers in college football the last couple of years. And he's got his big move as part of this Red Raiders defense. And you've paired him...
Cal, too. He's a big transfer for BYU.
And you've paired him with Ben Roberts. Who it felt like Ben Roberts had like 20 interceptions last year on that Red Raiders defense.
Last year. He played strong safety, he played nickel corner, he played weak linebacker. The dude just plays it everywhere, all at once.
Exactly. And then, like you say, you've paired Cade Oluwave with Isaiah Glasgow at BYU. We talked about Glasgow last year. He's just been one of those really high-level, dependable BYU linebackers. And Oluwave, even back to his true freshman days at Cal.
All year with one hand as well.
Yeah, he's tough. Like, there's no wonder BYU have gone after him. He is BYU tough. You have to be to survive in that atmosphere. And it just feels like he's going to fit like a glove there. And they've got one of the best linebacker pairings in the league. But so do Ben Roberts and Austin Romaine. I mean, even against, you go into the SEC and that. I love Rasheem Biles, but I don't see enough.
Falls off a bit.
I don't see enough from any of the other conferences to.
I do like the ACC. I do like Sammy Brown, but I like Lovelace.
I love Lovelace. He is the
Rose and Robinson probably the weak two of the four.
So yeah, Lovelace is the money linebacker at Pitt. He's versatile, like a lot of these guys are. But for me, the Big 12 goes first here. Do you think there's any group that can stand up to these?
No, they're two elite tandems. They'll be two of the best defenses in the country this year, guarantee.
I agree. Now we're looking after this. So I want to talk about the Big 10. Elijah Hardy is absolutely fantastic at Indiana. He had a wonderful season. Him and Isaiah Jones... And it was... Who was the third one who came up this year? He came to the draft. Oh, God. I'm not going to remember. But I think them as a pairing, they're one of the best pairings you've got going. Hardy is the blitzing linebacker off the edge, the off-ball guy, but he can play in the middle as well. Isaiah Jones is the kind of do-it-all linebacker they've got. He's really good against the run as well.
This year as well. The guy has just got a nose for the football.
Yeah.
Got 4 turnovers. And 88 tackles. He had a big breakout year this year.
Which one?
Jordan Hall at Michigan State.
I was about to say. And then what the other two do, Daniel Wingate at Maryland. So, he was the first Terp in 8 years to get 100 tackles last year. He is a diehard who has stayed through that franchise through thick and thin. He played through a high ankle sprain all of last year. Jordan Hall... And I say this name to everyone who's listening. If you want to already ask the question, who's the most Dan Campbell player in next year's draft potentially already, Jordan Hall is a name you should familiarise yourself with last year. He played through a torn, not a quad, it was a muscle in his pec region. I can't remember what it was now. But you should see the list of injuries he was playing through for Michigan State last year. And he played pretty much every game. There is no, I've read a lot about him. There is no grittier player in college football than what Jordan Hall is. But Daniel Wingate is a close second. And as I say, and that Maryland team has been really good. I think this Big Ten lot is second, right, for me.
Yeah.
I think people might not know the names as much, but they're going to know them all very quickly. As I say, I think Elijah Hardy's going to be a star. Jordan Hall is going to be a star. He stayed at Michigan State as well. Through everything that's happened there, they recruited him. And as I say, he played through so many injuries, and you wouldn't notice. Just absolutely led from the front. Now we've got to try and have a look.
Does Rasheem Biles outweigh Lovelace and Sammy Brown?
So I know how much you love Sammy Brown. Sammy Brown is a fantastic football player, is he not? The only thing here, and I was putting this, Cam Robinson is... Where is he? I believe. Is it Cam Robinson? No. I think Cam Robinson was nursing an off-season injury, a bad one, but I think I read in he's going to be healthy. Rasheem Biles is obviously Pittsburgh, obviously transferred to Texas. I think Rasheem Biles is tremendous. Kip Lewis is like the emotional leader on that Oklahoma defense. He's like a proper green dot. And he'd be the kind of guy you're looking for there. Raylan Wilson has a year as a starter, not the most experienced in the world. Sammy Brown and Braylon Lovelace, it is very tough. It gets down to the bottom of it. Matt Rose is very good at Stanford. And Stanford's defense is usually one of the areas where the individual players themselves are usually a bit better. I'm just wondering, this is really a toss-up for me. You've got former Pittsburgh versus current Pittsburgh, but Sammy Brown's special, right?
Yeah. Looks like a future very good, sound draft pick in the NFL.
Sammy Brown is the star in there, but Rasheem Biles could be a superstar by the time he's done at Texas. Rasheem Biles and Colin Simmons is a cheat code. They thought Anthony Hill Jr. was good. They're not going to miss him in the slightest when Biles gets going. Oh. I feel like 1 through 4, the SEC are a little bit better, but I feel like the ACC are more top-heavy. So it's it's where do you want to go? I'm very... I am moving towards the ACC at 3. But... I'm not sure. Go on, you're going to have to break this for me.
Okay, well, like I say, we get those veto breakers. Like I said, I'm happy to put the ACC at 3.
Yeah. And again, this is nothing against the SEC whatsoever. This is just... And these
I
are
think
like...
the Pittsburgh defense will be fine without Rasheem Biles, and that kind of sways it from me. I think they will find somebody to be him.
Yeah.
Always seem to do a job of someone is the next guy lined up.
Yeah. And this is like, if you finish 4th, like, this is not a knock on you. These are the best players the conference has to offer. You're still amazing. But, yeah, someone has to lose there. But, yeah, I'm just a very big believer in all those Big 12 and Big 10 guys. They're the guys I know a little bit more and I trust implicitly. So, there we go. Right, we've just got 2 units left and we are done. We start with the corners. And we have... From the ACC, we've got Ashton Hampton of Clemson, and we've got Tayon Holloway of Louisville. The Big 12, we've got Will James of Houston, and we've got Bryce Pollock of Texas Tech. In the SEC, we've got Zabian Brown of Alabama and Ellis Robinson of Georgia. And then in the Big 10, we've got Jair Hill of Michigan and Brandon Finney of Oregon. Which group do you want to talk about here first, right? Because again, some interesting pairings, some younger pairings, some older pairings. But I know we mentioned Ashton Hampton the other week in the corner chat.
That is a strong pairing. Ashton Hampton, I say, is definitely one of the names to watch this year and in next year's draft cycle as one of the top premier corners that can play press, he can play man. He's physical. He's the next in line. Like say now that Terrell has gone, he's going to be the guy that's going to get all the targets and get testing go after. But he will come up fighting against it. Like I said, Tayon Holloway, Louisville have had a good recent run of producing DBs for the NFL. Like I said, a good young corner that's learning the game. I like this pair, and I think they will be heavily tested against some of the best receivers in the country in the ACC. They will come out on top.
Yeah, Tayon Holloway, 2 interceptions, 4 PBUs last year, just gave up 56% on his targets. And I mean, it's a tough place to play in the ACC sometimes. So he's got 1,500 snaps experience. Ashton Hampton does as well. When it comes to the Big 12 guys, obviously, Texas Tech love to hoard their guys. Obviously, Bryce Pollock is like... So they got him out of Miss State, didn't they? They got an SEC player to transfer to them, which is rare. Obviously, it is Miss State, but 5 interceptions, 6 pass breakups last year. Gave up an NFL passer rating of just 35. His missed tackle rate was 7.1%. He only gave up 50% completions there. You're probably talking about one of the most all-rounded players. He's 6'1", 195, almost a perfect size as well.
Yeah, like I say, the guy. What did he have? Was it a 5-game run of turnovers to start the season when he first joined Texas Tech? Was that when he joined Miss State?
That might be. He started off at Miss State.
I think he had a 5 game run with like an interception. Like I say, yeah, this was the player that they accused of tampering, wasn't it, to get him
Yeah,
out?
yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
I'd have tampered for him too. The guy is a shutdown corner. He was Premier last year and one of the best outside guys in the Big 12. Held his own, as you say, prototypical build, 6'1", 190. That's how you get him. He looks every bit the finished article already.
He does. And then his compatriot there, Will James at Houston, they picked him up as a true freshman from Southern Miss last year. He had a really good true freshman year for them, and they had 3 interceptions and 7 pass breakups in his first year in the Power 4, 2 forced fumbles as well. He gave up just 51% on targets against him. He's had a great start to his career, 14 PBUs in his first 2 years at Southern Miss, then adapting to Houston. Houston have done a really good job of taking guys from the lower levels and developing them. He's 6', 185. They are a formidable pairing, aren't they, Will James and Bryce Pollock?
Yeah, I think, like I say, the selection of DBs in the Big 12 is strong. These are two of the front runners this year to headline that conference.
And then you've got Brandon Finney, obviously the true freshman last year from Oregon. I mean, what a season he had.
For a corner, which is so hard to do.
40 tackles, just 3 missed. The missed tackle rate was 7.1%. He had a forced fumble. He got targeted 50 times and gave up 20 receptions. That's a 40% rate. 3 interceptions, 3 PBUs, an NFL passer rating against a 42. The game against Texas Tech when he had Behren Morton on absolute toast. Like, he was targeted 7 times, gave up 2 completions, had 2 interceptions in that game. But you'd struggle to think of a better true freshman corner last year, wouldn't you?
Yeah. The guy stepped in and he looked every bit of the high school hype that he came up with. Big games against big teams, and he stepped up against some of the best receivers in the country. Like I say, it was a very polished season. Like I say, the ceiling this year, there's going to be a lot of spotlights on him. He's going to be expected to take the jump to stardom, I think.
That is, and his running mate Jair Hill, 2 interceptions.
More of an experienced veteran.
Yeah,
but very good in his own right, though.
He's started the last 2 years, 2 interceptions, 13 pass breakups. He has a missed tackle problem, 24% last year. Only gives up about 53% on his completions again, though quite steady. Kind of no one's talked about him at Michigan. The team's kind of been overlooked with everything that's gone off, but again, it's a solid pairing. Then you go into the SEC, and obviously you've got Ellis Robinson, who was Ellis Robinson the 4th, the super 5-star commit in the same class as KJ Bolden. He had to wait.
No, I wouldn't have picked this pairing.
No, he had to wait his first year. He played 51 snaps in his first year. Played 500 last year. 4 interceptions and 4 pass breakups. So had himself a decent year. Gave up just 42% on receptions a game. So he's kind of lived up to his billing. Just a 12% missed tackle rate as well. The run defense is pretty good. And then obviously the one everyone will talk about in regard to the Lions, because he's an Alabama corner and we just appear to love those. Zabian Brown, he's a true junior. Started his first 2 years even as a true freshman. 5 interceptions, 6 pass breakups the last 2 years. 2 of those interceptions came last year. Very steady tackler, 11% missed tackle rates. Only 50% given up on his receptions as well. 6 foot, 194 pounds. The younger guys here, both juniors heading into this year, and they say they are good. Not great, but they are good.
Yeah. Good. Lots of potential. Lots of growing room as well, like you say, good. Need a lot more snaps under their belt to get a bit more polished and a bit more refined. They've shown a lot of good high ceiling potential in early days. So yeah, 2 big programs. These 2 will hopefully take a big step this year to becoming towards the guys that have come before them.
Yes.
Next in the queue, really.
You see them indeed. Right, now we've got to try and rank these, which I think is quite tough because, again, we really like Ashton Hampton and Tayon Holloway. Will James and Bryce Pollock, by far the most productive of these pairings, and, have both done tremendous given that they were first-year transfers. Zabian Brown and Ellis Robinson have the name stardom, and they're getting there. They're not quite there yet. And then Brandon Finney's just an ultimate superstar at true freshman. Jair Hill's good. I feel like he holds that group.
Yeah, I think Hill.
I do feel like he holds that group back just a tiny bit. I would be putting the Big Ten fourth for the first time here, or would you?
Yeah, I think Hill. I mean, Hill is definitely not Hampton's level, so I feel like they have to be 4.
Yeah, and again, it's nothing against, like, Brandon Finney's amazing, so this is nothing against him. I think it's ranking the pair as a tandem. They're not quite there. Now is the tough one, because I feel like, first off, who are you looking at for first? I'm looking at the Big 12, but
I am, because I think you've got 2 guys that are very talented, but they're also, I'd say they've got more experience.
yeah,
They've got production. There's production between them as well.
yeah.
Robin and Brown are very good, but they lack the big production today.
I mean, obviously, if you're talking about ceiling, then the
Brown
SEC.
Brown and Robinson could both be coming back in a year.
Oh God, yeah. They
They're definitely looking this year like we're going. This is the year we take the world by storm and go to the draft.
Well, I don't think Ellis Robinson can. He can, but I think he'd be wise not to. So I think
I'm looking at James and Pollock as, like I say, draft corners.
Yeah. But Brown and Robinson have the bigger ceiling of them all. But if we just did ceilings, then the SEC would be first in every category because they have the better players in there. Right. So are we saying Brown and Robinson are third? Do we think the ACC have enough chops to get in over them?
I mean, Hampton's a heavy hitter.
Yeah. It just feels like Brown and Robinson are good, but I don't think they've reached their ceilings yet. Hampton and Holloway. It is.
I think Holloway's got a high ceiling. We haven't seen the best of Holloway yet.
But he's still been pretty good.
Yeah.
But then Ellis Robinson had a great first year, and Xavier Brown started since he was a true freshman. So it's kind of, they have also done really well when they're young. It's a coin toss. Like
12 goes 1. It's a toss up 2 and 3.
You're either going for star value, which is the SEC, or you're going for maybe slightly more production at this point, which is the ACC. So it's pick your poison here, but I think Ashton Hampton's tremendous. I look at all of these and like,
I like what the ACC.
Who would you want to draft out of these 4 for the Lions?
Ashton Hampton.
There we go. I think that's the one that kind of does it for me. If he's going to be the one you draft out of them all, then they get to go second. So I'm going to put them as second there, and I'm going to put these as third. But that is not to say these 2 could be superstars in the SEC, but they've not quite made it just yet. Right, we're going to go down to the safeties now to finish this off. And our safety pairings, and I am 100% going to be biased in this, and we will have an argument otherwise. For the ACC, we've got Cohen Entringer from Louisville and Bryce Fitzgerald from the Miami Hurricanes. From the Big 12, we've got Jamal Johnson from TCU, and we've got Falateu Satuala from BYU. From the SEC, we've got KJ Bolden from Georgia and Bray Hubbard from Alabama. And then from the Big 12, we've got Amare Farrell from Indiana and Earl Little from Ohio State. So we'll have a little chat about this one. But for me, number 1 starts and ends with the SEC here because I'm the biggest KJ Bolden stan in the world.
I like Bray Hubbard. He screams to me Detroit Lion. 6'3", 215, veteran safety that loves to be around the ball. He feels like a Detroit. I like Hubbard. They're definitely number 1.
Yeah, I do as well.
Got super high ceiling and then a really high floor.
Yeah, I've got the same thing about KJ Bolden. I just think he's amazing, and he's going to be one of the best safeties in the league for a long time, and I want him on my side. So I'm damn well gonna vote for him. Just looking at some of these other groups, the ACC is interesting. So this was really interesting. Keon Entringer from Louisville. They've prized him as a starter away from Iowa.
He had a good year at Iowa as well.
Yeah, which is...
It's very hard to do, to lure Iowa DBs away from them.
It is. And he plays all over. He plays up in the box. He plays at free safety. They play him in the slot as well. We know these Iowa DBs. They can be quite interchangeable, but I mean, that's a huge get for Louisville, isn't it? Being able to entice one of Iowa's starters away from them.
Yeah, like I say, because their defense is top national. Is like a top 10 defense in the country every single year. And how many DBs is it sent to the draft in recent years? And how many more will it send this year? Like I say, getting the chance to play with Zach Lutmer, a potential first round corner, but now he's entered the portal and heading across country to Louisville.
Yeah. And then you've got another phenom from Miami, and I will say this till I die. Miami do better at developing their true freshman than anyone else in the nation. He was true freshman safety last year, played 450 snaps for them. He got a sack, a quarterback hit in a hurry. They blitz him a bit, 20 tackles, 5 run stops. He was targeted 20 times. He gave up 9 receptions. As a safety, a 45% reception rate against him is insane. He got 6 interceptions and 2 pass breakups. The NFL passer rating against him was 38.5. He had interceptions in 5 different games. He had a pair against Texas A&M on the road against Pittsburgh, away against Florida State. No one does it better than Miami, right, for their true freshmen. You think year on year, these guys, going back years now, they just have a way of getting the best out of them. I know they get high 5-star recruits and that, but they don't always translate to the field. But no one talks about Bryce Fitzgerald, a true freshman safety with 6 interceptions last year and a 45% completion rate against. It's pretty special.
Yeah. Michigan, Miami have just got a way of nurturing these young lads and getting the best out of them. The guy was a ball hawk on the last end, stepped in, like I say, made big plays in big moments, and didn't look out of place at all on a team full of some of the most veteran, elder statesmen in the country. He definitely looked like he belonged there.
Absolutely, you did. Then moving on to the Big 12, you got Jamel Johnson of TCU. 5 interceptions for him from the safety position last year. Maybe one of the best run defending safeties of the lot. He graded at 90 last year. His tackling is on point, just a 7% missed tackle rate last year. 2 pass breakups as well as 105 tackles for the Horned Frogs. 6'1", 200 pounds. The Horned Frogs, right? Again, you don't say no to their defenders. They can be a bit point happy give up, but they hit hard. They let you know that they've been hit hard, and they can take the ball away a lot.
Yeah, like I said, just seen Bud Clark, one of their best players, and like I said, their school history, entered the NFL draft as very savvy, very, very experienced safety. This guy's following in that mold. They stick around a while. They're productive. They get into wild shootouts. These DBs, they do give up big plays, but then they make big plays right back. So they live and die by the sword. But iron sharpens iron, and they get to the league ready with lots of snaps under the belt.
Yeah, the Big 12 safeties are hard. And
Satuala, like I said, this kid could be special.
Satuala, his first year as a starter last year. Yeah. Sack, battered pass, 2 forced fumbles, 80 tackles with just an 8% missed tackle rate, 3 interceptions, 2 pass breakups. Graded great on pretty much every metric. The only problem for him is he broke his foot in spring, but apparently he's going to be ready for the season. But again, sort of these BYU safeties and that, right? They go the mountain. The guys from kind of round there. Again, he's 6'4", 215 pounds as well. 6'4" safety coming running down at you and absolutely creaming you into the ground. You don't want that.
No, he's incredibly talented. He's got a huge wingspan. The guy's built just like Kyle Hamilton, and he plays the game like Kyle Hamilton. He is a side-to-side defender just as well as he comes downhill hard. The guy, if he recovers, keeps the foot healthy, he's going to have a monster year this year. He'll be very high on draft boards this time next year as a true junior. If he does decide to, forego any eligibility, he might well have the stock to do so this year.
Definitely, indeed. And then the Big Ten, you've got Earl Little Jr.
Polynesian Player of the Year this year. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. The biggest awards in college football. You can literally give him it now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, if he stays healthy for the year. And then the Big Ten guys, you've got Earl Little Jr., the Florida State transfer, has gone to Ohio State after a 4 interception season last year. He's never particularly graded out well. Started at Alabama, got his first year of starting last year. had a decent season, but not the best. But obviously, they've just lost Caleb Downs, etc. They need someone to help take the ball away from him. Say 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. He is a turnover machine. And then Amare Farrell, who I have a lot of time for, the Natty winner at Indiana, 6'2", 202 pounds, 4 interceptions, 7 PBUs last year. Turned up in some of the biggest moments for them. Had big interceptions against Illinois and Iowa earlier in the year. But as a coverage guy, he's tremendous. Gave up just 15 receptions on 31 targets. You very rarely see safeties with a sub 50% reception against grade, and just 58 as an NFL passer rating against him as well. Solid tackler, good run defender. Certainly a solid part of that secondary, although more is going to be required of him this year. Now they've lost bits on there, and we will do our last lot of rankings now. So, interesting group here. I'm moving towards saying the safeties from the Big Ten are the worst. Maybe here, like Farrell's good, but Earl Little.
I would agree. Yeah,
Earl Little's been okay, but he's not been great. And Amare Farrell is good, but he's not an absolute superstar. So I think that moves them out there. Obviously, Bolden and Hubbard by far are the best. Now we've got an interesting one here, because Entringer and Fitzgerald are great, but then Jamel Johnson and Fallet. This is probably the closest pair of guys we've had. Fitzgerald is a true freshman. That is impressive. Entringer has been a starter at Iowa, and we know how good their caliber is. But, like you say, Satawala should be after Polynesian Player of the Year. Jamel Johnson's just come off an absolutely fantastic statistical for TCU. This is proper coin flip territory here.
Yeah, like I said, I struggle to break them apart. I think Fitzgerald and Satawala you probably put on a level as two like young anchor pieces that you lean towards. So you're picking between Entringer and Johnson.
See, my vibe is telling me Big 12 is just a little bit better. But
will Entringer take a step back, leaving Iowa?
Well, I mean, he's been good for Iowa. He's not obviously been like a...
Or does he step out of the shadow now and have a big breakout year?
Well, that's it, because they were expecting him to be starter last year. There's been a lot of turnover there, and he's sort of played all over. Fitzgerald...
I can go Big 12, yeah.
Yeah, I think Big 12 is...
They clawed it back in the second on their defense, which I knew they would.
They did last year as well, I'm pretty sure they did. But, yeah, I'm going to go third for the ACC then, and then I think we'll go fourth for... No, second. We're not going to do that. What's second? Blue, there. So, again, I'm feeling pretty reasonable about that. You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, so there we have it. I'm going to try and get them all on here. So obviously ACC in the first column, Big 12 in the second, SEC in the third, Big 10 in the fourth. And now it just remains for me to do the scores. I should kind of keep the scores as I go along, but I choose not to for some reason. So if anyone's got any questions or anything they want to ask Rye whilst I do these in my head, then I shall quite happily do that. I know Lisa's in the building, Marcus in the building, but... I think overall, again, this felt like a really good year. I felt like last year there were a lot of easy decisions. This year was incredibly tough.
Yeah, the scoring last year was very disparaging in some areas. Like I say, it felt like a landslide at times on some of the conferences anyway.
It did. Right, so the ACC 2-2-2, 4-4, 2-4. Hang on. 2-2-2. 4-4, 2-4, 3. And I got a 2 and a 3. I feel like the ACC might be losing out this year. So that is 4, 6, 10, 14, 16, 20, 23, 25, 28. So the ACC has 28 points. That is the bar for now. Then we're going to go the Big 12. Big 12 is probably going to be... So that was 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 4. And then the defense comes in to save the day. 3, 1, 1, 2. There we go. So we got 4, 8, 12, 14, 16, 20, 23, 24, 25, 27, 27. So the Big 12 is the new leader. So the ACC is at the bottom, and I don't think that's going to be beaten there. Then we got the SEC. So their numbers, their rankings: 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 4. Oh, hang on. Why have I gone too far there? Oh, hang on, have I? Oh, balls. I've misdone this. We're going to have to start again. I forgot to do out the offensive line properly. Right. Okay, let's find something to talk about whilst I can wait. Find something to talk about for me, Ryan.
The England score.
Oh, what is the England score?
We were winning 1-0 after 55. Argentina have just equalised in the 87th minute. It's
you're joking.
So, look on the bright side. We're about to be able to watch some extra time.
Oh, there we go. So I'll make sure this is done quicker. So 2, 2, 2, 4. Oh, the ACC is going to be right down here.
The Argentina show. They've dominated passes, possession, corners, won a lot more fouls, had a lot more shots, but we've kept, touch wood.
Touch wood that we can do something. Yeah, unfortunately, the ACC's not had a single first place this year. So 2, 4, 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, 24, 28, 31, 33, 36 for the ACC. That is not boding out well. Big 12, we got 4, 4, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3 twos, and another 4, 3, 1, 1, and a 2 to finish. So that is 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 24, 27, 28, 29, 31. So the Big 12 is in front. We've got the SEC next. So to say we can leapfrog between those. We've got 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1. It's like I'm doing a sound check for this here. 3, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1. So we got 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20, 23, 24 for the SEC. And then the Big 10 will finish off with, so there we have 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1. A lot of 3s and 1s in there. 2, 4. Oh, the DBs might just have cost the Big 10 here. 4, 5, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, 29. So in order, I'll put it up again just so we can show you. In our rankings this year for the 4 Power 4 conferences, when it comes to Phil Steele's playoff rankings, you can see the little colour chart we've got here in terms of how we've done it up. In 4th place with 36 points is the ACC. They didn't have a single unit which we considered to be the best of them all, although there was some that could have. Certainly those first 3 where they finished second, that was a coin toss between some of them, but they got 36 points. The Big 12 were next with 31 points in 3rd. Their defense really came good for them because they didn't have the best start, but defensively they're always doing pretty good. The Big 10 are second, could have won, but the DBs we just didn't quite rate this year. They had stars, but not the overall caliber there. They come in with 29, and then the SEC winning by 5 points with 24, even though I felt like we weren't too nice to the SEC this year, but I think sometimes, right, star power just wins through that little bit. But Big 12 only coming in 2 points behind the Big 10 there. I think
they've bridged the gap to the Big 10 and the 2 big boys this year.
They did. It's I like that. I think the Big 12 is going in the right direction. And certainly, obviously the ACC probably understandable at this point. A lot of hemorrhaging out of that conference. So Miami are the only ones who can bring the big transfers in now. A lot of the others get sort of rinsed for their talent. But
We'll say a lot, yeah. We've heavily bashed the SEC and they still win.
in the SEC,
We're critical of them, though, but they still won, but we were hypercritical of them this year.
I think we were just, you've got to be. Sometimes people put a lot of stock into name value and stuff like that, which I just think isn't entirely right. You've got to kind of look at it from both points of view. Like, a lot of people will say Archer's the best quarterback in the country. He's clearly not on his track record. He could be, but he's not right now, and you have to be brave enough to admit that. And if you are, then you're just following your logic. So, anywho, is there anything else you want to mention before we get out of here? Before we go and watch Extra Time against the RGs?
We're not going to extra time.
Oh God, have they scored?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Headed on 9 minutes and they've scored after 3 of them.
Oh, great.
They've collapsed, and apparently all the attackers have been taken off.
Whose?
Everyone. It's a team full of defenders and we're now losing.
Oh, good lord. Okay, and on that terrible note, well done to the SEC for winning our
I'll be happy, America.
Yeah, on that happy note, well done, SEC. You see how you guys do the SEC dirty. We do the SEC dirty. We've literally just ranked them first. We've just said they've got the best group. We've critiqued them more than any, because the SEC, like with Michigan, I critique Michigan more than anyone else because a lot of people look biasly on Michigan. I criticise the SEC for the same reason, because it's all name value. I've literally said KJ Bolden is my favourite player of all time, Lisa. I am doing your dogs a favour there, so, I'm appreciating your dogs. But yeah, well done to the SEC. Commiserations to England. And on that terrifically disappointing note of us getting knocked out of the World Cup by Argentina, we bid you adieu, and hopefully we'll make it back at some point. Next week, we will be looking at the group of 5 Phil Steele conference teams, and we don't rank those because it's a lot harder to. There's a lot of names, but what we do is we go through each position group and we pick out players that we like, and we will highlight them to you in a bigger degree. We'll do a little bit of a deep dive on them. We had some good picks last year, so we're going to do that again there, which is going to be good fun. So join us for that. Main College Pod will be back on Monday. I will try and do a Q&A over the weekend, but I am working all weekend, so if I will, it'll be a little earlier than usual, so keep an eye out for it. But yeah, that's everything for us. We've been the College Football Podcast. Thank you, Lisa, Mile Marker, everyone else who's been in the building. Appreciate you all. Have a fantastic evening. And on that note, fuck Argentina.